'Cause until the philosophy which old one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, well, everywhere is war. It's a war. And until there's no longer first class nor second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance to the color of his eyes, I've got to say war. And until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race, it's the war. 'Cause until that day, the dream of lasting peace, world citizenship, and the rule of international morality, yeah, will remain in but a fleeting illusion to be pursued, but never attained. Well, everywhere is war. It's a war. War in the east, war in the west, war up north, war down south. Yes, this your war, a war. Oh, rumors of war. Yes, this your war, a war. Oh, rumors of war. And until the ignoble and unhappy regime that hold our brothers in South Africa, anywhere on the part of the earth, in subhuman bondage, has been toppled, utterly destroyed. Well, everywhere is war, everywhere is war. War, everywhere is war. War, everywhere is war. 'Cause until the day the African continent will not know peace, we Africans will fight, we find it necessary. We know we shall win. We are confident in the victory, yeah, of good over evil, of good over evil, of good over evil. Well, everywhere is war. 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 Some crying, some dying, some winning, some losing, singing, we know. No more trouble. We don't need. Oh no, 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 no. No more trouble. Tell you what we need is love. To guide and protect us on. If you're up, look down from above. Help the weak if you are strong. We don't need no trouble. Oh no, 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 no. need no trouble. What we need is love.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. The United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people.
Good day, good day. How are y'all doing, man? Salute to everybody in the building. Please smash that like button as you come through. Oh, man. Hey, shout out to my brother Boxer Scholar, but shout out to my guy AC on the panel. AC, we're at that point. We knew it was coming. I'm really not surprised, but how you doing today, brother? How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I was listening to the song War and stuff like that, and it just got me to thinking real fast that the music in my generation growing up, since we didn't have PlayStation and social media and stuff like that, it just wasn't invented yet for commercial use. For residential use or whatever. But songs like this, Muda Baruch, was also another musician. Gil Scott Heron. This was our social media. This was telling us what was going on in many different situations, and we drew our own conclusions based on research and after that. So songs like this are timeless classics.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't realize how important these songs are because they keep giving. They never go out of style because they will always relate to the current time, because the current time hasn't changed. It's gotten worse in some sectors, gotten tiny bit better, but overall the appearances shit is not changing.
One of the iconic songs, Bob Dylan, "The Times Are Changing." It's applicable to really any time period that you're in, whether you came up in the 2000s under Bush and Obama, or you're in the times of, I'll just call them what they are, the time of the fascists with Donald Trump. It's applicable to any time. That song, it's gonna be a hard rain. Like, the lyrics are just beautiful, and it makes me sad that we could tap into the lyrics on such a real level, because it's stuff that we see happen in real time. When Bob Marley said, until the ideology of one race being superior to our other is discredited and disbanded, we will have war.
Yeah,
And we have that with Zionists. We see what they're doing.
That verse right there still gives me goosebumps because I lived through it. I know exactly what he's talking about. I've seen it through the Haitian immigration, through Puerto Ricans coming here, through Cuban refugees coming here on boats and overcrowded boats. Bro, I done seen it all. You know what I'm saying? And to watch it through the guise of the .com boom, the greed is good boom, the Gordon Gekko boom. You know what I'm saying? to watch Silicon Valley grow on one side, but then these heavy political things are on the opposite side. Old enough to see the last bits and remnants of the I believe it was the Cuban concentration camps in LA and Florida and shit like that. So, bro, it's crazy. And this is where my passion, and sometimes where I have a very short fuse on certain talking points, it just doesn't rock with me, because it's like, if you've seen what I've seen, you've been through what I've been through, experienced the level of racism that I've experienced in certain issues, you're just not going to be so willy-nilly to just try to arbitrarily explain that shit away.
Absolutely. But I had the show planned out. We were gonna start with talking about ICE and just going through verified instances of them lying as well as their tactics. But we got to start with the topic of the day. The U.S. and Israel have launched missiles, and they have struck several military sites in Iran. At this time, we don't know how many people have been killed. We do not know how many casualties they are. I saw a news report, an on-ground news report, a video of an elementary school in the Iranian capital of Tehran. It was on fire. It was burning. The Iran struck back at seven different countries in the Gulf, one of which was Bahrain. They were trying to strike back at U.S. bases, and they actually hit one. It was the Navy. It was a Navy base. The U.S. had already moved out the ships the week prior, probably because they knew they were going to launch strikes this week, and the missile landed. At this time, we don't know if there are any casualties. It was a ginormous explosion. Independent sources are saying that there's at least seven U.S. servicemen that were injured. The official line is that there are no casualties. We're going to learn more about that later. As well as the Houthis, Iran's Yemeni proxies, they have said they plan to close the Red Sea. They plan to go back to bombing any merchant ships that come through, especially our U.S. merchant ships. The Hezbollah Brigade, as well as the Badr Brigade, which has over 300,000 armed fighters in Iraq. They have pledged a war of attrition, and they say they plan on striking U.S. bases in the coming days. So we are right now in a full state of war. While this is taking place, Pakistan and Afghanistan are now in a state of war. That they've recently Pakistan has recently struck at Kabul, which is Afghanistan's capital, at some Taliban sites, and the Taliban have struck at Pakistani border posts. So right now, the entire region is destabilized, and even worse, Iran has pledged. They said that they will close the Strait of Hormuz, which is basically the opening for the Gulf Coast to open into the Indian Ocean. 20% of the world's energy comes through there, petrol, diesel, as well as crude. That could cause oil prices globally to spike. So this is just not a good situation. We're looking at instability. I just want to play this news report, then me and AC are going to react to it.
At about 8:15 Saturday morning, air raid sirens blared across Israel. Moments later, reports of a massive, coordinated U.S.-Israeli preemptive strike on Iran. Explosions were reported across Tehran and multiple military sites as the White House released a recorded address from President Donald Trump.
For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated.
Israeli officials confirm hundreds of strikes, including missile launchers in western Iran, while U.S. forces targeted Iranian naval assets in the Persian Gulf. The Israel Defense Forces say the operation was months in the making, built around a major intelligence effort to identify what it called an operational opportunity when senior Iranian officials were convened. Officials also confirmed the strike was deliberately launched in the morning, not under the cover of darkness. In a video message delivered in Hebrew, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the goal is to remove what he called an existential threat posed by the Islamic Republic and to create conditions for Iranians to change their destiny. A message echoed by President Trump.
Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
In response, Iran fired multiple barrages toward Israel. Israeli authorities report at least one man lightly injured. Reports also indicate Iran's supreme leader has been moved to a secure location as the situation remains fluid. Back in Washington, President Trump issued a direct warning to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, urging them to lay down their weapons or face certain destruction. He also called on divine protection for U.S. forces.
We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail.
The president closed his address with a final appeal to the Iranian people.
So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach.
In Jerusalem, Paul Petit, CBN News.
So you heard it right there. We are in a full state of war. Donald Trump, unfortunately or fortunately not, well, however you feel, he is our commander in chief, and he has stated that the goals of this campaign is number one to, as he said, obliterate Iran's nuclear program, which I thought we did that last year, but whatever. Number two, to remove the current government of Ali Khamenei. And number three, to I didn't hear I can't remember what number three was, but those are the two main points: the nuclear program and to remove Khomeini. And hold on one second, AC. At this hour, Benjamin Netanyahu just spoke to the media, and he said signs show that Khomeini is no longer with us. Says Netanyahu. Netanyahu says airstrikes have destroyed Khomeini's compound and adds that all indications show that the tyrant is no longer with us. While not explicitly confirming Khomeini's death, this is the strongest official indication yet that the missing leader is dead. It was just a couple hours ago, AC, the Iranian foreign minister, he went on Al Jazeera and he was asked about Khomeini's condition, and he said, as far as I know, the supreme leader is still alive. This is a picture of the supreme leader's compound. It is rubble. It's smoke. They wiped it off the face of the earth. So I don't know if this man is still alive. I pray that he is. For those of you who don't understand the politics of that region, Khomeini is essentially he's like the Pope to the Shia Muslims. So imagine if you're in the Crusades and the Pope gets assassinated. You set off a war for another 100 years. And we know these jihadists, they are experienced in guerrilla warfare. They will blend into the population. So it doesn't even matter what if the government falls and you place who they want, and Israel and America places who they want in that position. You're still gonna have fighting. You're still gonna have instability. And it's not just gonna be in this region. It's gonna be in Africa. It's going to be in the wider Middle East and Gulf. And for what? For Israel. Or excuse me, I apologize. For the land of Zion. For their interests. This is not in any way, shape, form, or fashion in the best interest of the United States of America. At all whatsoever. We are going to have dead U.S. servicemen because of this orange idiot. This has nothing to do with us at all whatsoever. Not even a little bit. And then, like, my next really big problem that I have, AC, this guy said that he was going to be the No New Wars president. Like, that was his big calling line. Like, that was his big campaign slogan. I'll be the No New Wars president. You see Stephen Miller right here, like, foaming at the fingers on Twitter, telling people, if you elect Kamala Harris, it's going to lead to World War III. If you elect Kamala Harris, boys in Michigan are drafted to fight boys in the Middle East. Kamala will send your sons to war. And that fat orange disgrace stood up there and said, many American heroes will die. And said it like it was something to be proud of. While this fat orange turd, when it was his time to step in that gap, his time to serve his country, like Teddy Roosevelt, like John F. Kennedy, who served in the Navy during World War II, he came up with some BS excuse about bone spurs. He told General Kelly that servicemen are suckers when he was at a funeral at I can't remember the name of the cemetery, but it's a famous service cemetery for servicemen. He called them suckers, and now he's about to send them to die for Israel. The No New Wars president, but before I let you go, AC, we're probably gonna replicate this same thing in Cuba in a couple of months because Cuba is almost out of fuel. It's almost out of fuel. They don't have any. They don't have anything left to ensure stability for the entire population when you talk about the energy infrastructure. So you're probably gonna see in a couple months we're gonna strike Cuban military bases, and then Trump is gonna get on TV and say, "The people of Cuba, this is your opportunity to free yourselves from this wicked regime." And then on top of the fact, he's bombed 7 different countries in just a year and some change. Syria, Nigeria, Yemen, Venezuela, Iran, I believe Gaza as well, Somalia. I don't know how Republicans go to the polls this November. What do they sell people on? Y'all are the party of forever wars. Y'all are the party of running up the deficit. Y'all are the party of cutting health care and food assistance. Y'all are the party of tariffs, which raise prices on people. Who are y'all working for? Hey, go ahead, AC. What's your thoughts on this whole situation? Because I'm disgusted.
Well, for me, as a proponent of history, I'm just looking at Donald Trump try to reenact all the wars that in some way, shape, or form had people coalesce around the president. When America, you had the bad pigs, Cuba, Russia, all of that, everybody coalesced around the president, everybody backed it, yada, yada, yada. If you're looking to strike Cuba again on this day, that's what you're looking to do. Now that you're going after Iran and the Ayatollah, you want to bring back crude oil. You want to bring back oil and get rid of all the renewables because you made deals with all the oil execs. Why did America go over there in the first place? Why did America back Israel in the first place? Because America needed a representative. And Europe and pretty much the world needed a representative that can represent and hold down the brown people while we steal their oil and land and their resources. So that job was supposed to be Israel. Israel was supposed to be the police of that. That's why we back them without cause, because they are supposed to be our police over there. They are our dry snitches. They are everything. So if you don't understand that, then you do not understand what the whole Middle East shit is about to begin with. So to understand that, now you move forward. Trump wants to go back to these renewables. Israel has completely lost control of the region. You now have to send in the bigger guns because the police can't do the job. They're feckless at it. You know, they've lost it. They've lost the mission. So when you hear him talk about stabilizing the region means getting control of brown people, or as killing as many brown people as possible, that you make everyone else terrified. Now, here's the actual fact. In that region, the CIA, MI6, and all of these government agencies from around the world have been trying to install people to run Iran, because Iran is like the Bloods or the Crips of that region. They're one of the second biggest factions over there. And the people over there just are dead loyalists. This shit goes all the way back to when we weren't talking about them. We were talking about the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO. This is when you can go back to all of this. So now to rehash it, to try to bring that up, you got two fucking serious problems that I don't know if they realize what the fuck they doing. Number one, you trying to get in that region. Number two, you're fucking with Putin's money over there. Because Putin, that's where he sells his weapons to all those brown people. That's where he sells his oil. You know what I'm saying? Or he has a trade embargo. So you start fucking with Putin and what he's doing over there, you might find this man up against you. Now, the crazy thing is, you can go back to the Nostradamus papers when it talks about this type of situation. An unconventional president will rise up with the Star of David, with a representative of the Star of David, and cause the Third World War. Because now you directly fucking with Putin in a way that, you know, his administration and him, he's never liked. You can put sanctions on me, but don't fuck with my brown people. And that's pretty much where I'll land that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would wonder if this is gonna force some type of response from Russia, because right now Russia, if you look at people that are covering the war, I go to the Institute of War at understandingwar.org. They do daily updates on military bloggers who are actually out there on the ground, and they give their maps based assessments. Russia has stalled out. And in the north, on the northern front, in places like Sumy and Kharkiv, the Ukrainians are in the middle of a counteroffensive, and they're taking territory from them. So now you've cut off one of Russia's allies in Venezuela, which I don't know exactly what Russia was getting from Venezuela, because Russia produces its own crude. But now you're going after Iran, a place where Russia buys its a good part of its suicide drones. On top of the fact Ukraine is bombing its fiber optic facilities in Russia. It's been bombing its energy infrastructure, which is halting a lot of its FPV and suicide drone manufacturing. This might force a response from them. I don't think it will, because right now their hands are tied. But I wonder if it would force them to try and negotiate a ceasefire or a peace in the meantime, because if they lose an ally like Iran, they're in deep trouble.
And
So
just to,
it's gonna be interesting to see what give your thoughts on that. Then
no,
I want
I
to
would
say one more thing on
piggyback,
some of
just
the
piggyback.
reasons why Iran is the way it is right now. Go ahead.
just to piggyback off of what you're saying, is that I feel like this. Ukraine was kind of a vanity project. It holds no real value to a certain degree. Now, you can walk away from Ukraine and always revisit it. But to try to reestablish what you've established since the 60s and the 50s with fucking with Afghanistan and those Arab nations, you can't afford to do that. So I believe, just my theory would be, they would be willing to ease up on Ukraine, let Ukraine walk away and have their little minor victories. I can always pick that shit up. I can stop losing these resources, rebuild my joint, and then start to send stuff back over to help out the region that really needs my help. That this type of stuff affects our capacity. So it's a tough situation, but I would probably believe that if this was chess, I'd sacrifice that pawn to capture your rook or your knight. And that's the play I think Russia might try to do. If not, exactly right there. They're just gonna be part of the just hacking and just dropping crazy shit on Donald Trump about the Epstein files. Like, look at how they welcomed him. Put up nude photographs. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning here, and they put out nude photographs of his wife. Yeah, congratulations. Here's the first lady. Have at her. So,
No, absolutely. And just to touch on what you were saying earlier, the reason why Iran became this way, the reason why it's a fundamentalist autocracy ruled by a sickly, decrepit old man who's a cleric and who believes that 12-year-olds should be married to 40-year-old men. The reason it's that way is because Israel and the United States and Britain, they owned Iran. They ran Iran. They had Iran had its own democratically elected prime minister and their own parliament. And the US and the British came in and said F that. And they arrested that man and had him killed. And then they installed the Shah of Iran,
yes, sir.
which has not been, which the Shahs have not ruled. Well, it's actually Persia. It was Persia when the Shahs were in charge. They haven't ruled Persia or Iran in almost 1,000 years, and they thought that they could just insert this man. Then we're gonna send BP and Chevron in to grape Iran's oil, to grape those people of their wealth right from out under their feet. And then eventually those people said, hell no, we're not going to take this no more. And that's where you hear the chants, I will kill the man who killed my brother, death to the Shah, death to America. That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
But if you actually look, AC, Iran the day after 9/11, the people of Iran were in the streets saying, we're sorry, America. They were saying, we're sorry, America. Literally, that's what they were chanting. Not death to America. Sorry, America. While in Israel, they were laughing. Do you understand me? They were laughing in Israel.
Now, here's the crazy part. And this is my final piggyback. It was the 1953 coup. It was called Operation Ajax. To everyone in the world, it was the 1953 Iranian coup d'etat. That's what Marky's talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So to give everybody a reference point to where you can go back and try to and have a starting point. You can even go back to 1941. Now, why would you say 1941? Isn't that around the time of the Second World War? Whoa. So we were in a world war while secretly funding another war. So while the world was at war, 3 countries that were involved in the war were secretly funneling money to take over another country and get power to someone else. Let that type of shit make sense to you, to understand how this globalization works. And then when it didn't work out for them, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like, oh, we thought y'all was trying to help us, but now y'all trying to steal our resources and give it to them. Our fucking
Watch your cousin, AC.
Our enemies, our natural enemies. We just signed a peace agreement to stop all of this stuff, but we didn't know y'all was gonna try to make them our rulers, and that's on some of the underlying stuff that the people were feeling. Like, yeah, you helped us install our government. You know, you helped us, you know, really come and really try to establish a democracy so we can be part of the EU and everything else. And these were all of these big promises that you were making to us. And at the end of the day, you didn't deliver on nothing. So, yeah, I just don't know how this government, how the U.S. under Donald Trump recoups from a lot of this other stuff. And for Republicans, now it's time to wake up, because you're really seeing a senile old man just try to relive the yesteryears of wars he just ducked, and now he think he can revisit these wars, start them all over again, and now have a better outcome.
Not only that, AC. One more thing, but before we go, I read a report from the Washington Post this week that what's the name of that guy? Russell Vought, which is one of the Project 2025 people who's all about cutting, and you know, he says this whole thing is government efficiency. Russell Vought and four other people, or excuse me, no, four sources within the White House said that Russell Vought is angry with Pete Hegseth and that there's a beef brewing because they the Congress appropriated $500 million to the Defense Department and they don't know how to spend it. Literally, they just have $500 billion just to F off. And you think about that, there's a Democratic proposal on the floor which would give everybody free dental care for the next decade, which would be $250 billion over the next decade. If the Defense Department budget stayed this way, it would cost us $6 trillion over the next decade. So now I guess they decided, well, let's go bomb some countries. Let's go waste some money. I mean, just unbelievable, bro. But prayers for those people out there. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Sometimes when we have these discussions, it can sound like I'm being entertained or like I'm having fun. But no, I really pray for people out here. I don't like to see none of those scenes over there in Gaza. I don't want that to be replicated nowhere. And salute to my brother BVO. Salute to D Free, Prize Fighter, everybody that came through in the building. My guy Chop Cheese Tommy.
The U.S.-led war on terrorism is getting at least verbal support from some among a one-time adversary, Iran. In Tehran this week, demonstrators held a candlelight vigil for victims of the attacks in New York and Washington, and Iran's foreign minister was quoted today as saying his government wants those behind the attacks, quote, tracked down and severely punished. Where Iran's controlling mullahs stand is unclear.
And they're saying we're sorry, America, even though they didn't have nothing to do with what happened. But we're going to move on from there. We're going to move on to talking about ICE, America's secret police, America's Gestapo. They have just been, or at least I'll say in the past 2 months, they have now been proven, AC, to have lied about at least 3 different shootings. And it's like the lies are demonstratable. The first one we're going to touch on is obviously Mr. Alex Preddy.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement.
This individual.
So we obviously found that all out to be a load of BS. We also have Stephen Miller, who said an assassin tried to unalive federal agents, and J.D. Vance, the vice president, retweeted that. We learned that was a load of BS. Kristi Noem was taken out of interior enforcement. Greg Bovino has officially been retired. I mean, it was just a disaster. Moving on, they have now been proven to have lied on at least 2 other occasions, AC. The first one was Miss Miramar Martinez. I think we discussed her. Yeah, we touched on her last year when they were doing a surge into Chicago. They put 7 bullets into this woman's car. They were trying to unalive her. Salute to my guy, Sir Foul Player. We're touching on ICE. They are America's secret police and Gestapo. But how you doing today, Sir Foul Player, before I go back in?
Chilling, my brother. How you doing? I hope you're having a great weekend.
I'm doing well. Prayers for the people of Iran. Go on mute when you're not talking, Sir Foul, but you got some echo. Yeah. But I was just about to touch on Miss Miramar Martinez. They put 7 bullets in her car. They have now been proven through body cam footage to have lied. They said that she boxed them in. The video proves there was nothing in front of their car. They had free and clear access to leave and push forward. They actually swerved their car into her and then got out and started shooting. And it's all on video.
About dozens of texts and many, many minutes of video about this case. Miramar Martinez was fighting for the release after she was cleared of all charges against her. And she said after the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis, the public needed to see this.
All right, it's time to get aggressive and get the out because they're trying to box us in.
Last October, agents with Customs and Border Protection claimed Miramar Martinez.
We are boxed in.
Boxed them in with her car. Surveillance video shows the same moment where Agent Exum's car is stopped with no one in front of him. He shoots 5 times. Martinez drives by. Exum had also accused her of ramming his car, but later admitted that didn't happen in an interview with Martinez's attorney.
I asked him, well, we both agree that there was no ramming here. Is that fair to say? And Agent Exum said yes. By my definition, yes, sir.
In the immediate aftermath, new text messages show he told his colleagues it happens. Exum also receives praise for shooting Martinez. In one text, good shooting. In an email with then Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino, he tells Exum he has, quote, much yet left to do, following his, quote, excellent service. The email is time-stamped a few hours after the shooting, while we're told Martinez was still in the hospital recovering from multiple gunshot wounds.
And then I got shot right here.
She later revealed on CBS's 60 Minutes, with Commander Bovino no longer in charge of Operation Midway Blitz.
Going forward, how do you feel the conduct revealed in these text messages might influence the way that federal agents respond in other cities that they visit post Bovino?
Look, we're hopeful by releasing this that our elected leaders, Miramar was in D.C. I was fortunate enough to go with her last week. And, Senator Duckworth and others asked very specific questions and seemed to actually be interested in getting behind this and kind of trying to shift behavior.
Now, Marie Martinez and her attorneys plan to file a new federal lawsuit and ask for tens of millions of dollars in damages because of all of this that's happened. Today, though, they're filing a complaint to get that process going. The government has about 6 months to respond before they can file that official lawsuit. They hope that that'll come forward before a judge by October. Marie.
Well, we'll be watching, I know. Thank you, Sabrina.
Authorities have opened a criminal probe into whether 2 immigration officers lied under oath about a shooting in Minneapolis last month as charges were dropped against 2 Venezuelan men. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director Todd Lyons said Friday that his agency had opened a joint probe with the Justice Department after video evidence revealed sworn testimony provided by 2 separate officers appears to have made untruthful statements in the shooting of one of the Venezuelan men. The officers, whose names were not disclosed, are on administrative leave pending a completion of an internal investigation. Lyons added that the U.S. Attorney's Office is actively investigating.
So that second one, I forgot to mention it. That second one is actually, can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, my bad. No, I was just saying, I forgot to mention the details on that second one. So in Minneapolis in January, after I think this was after Renee Good was killed by ICE agents. An ICE agent was fired shots at two Venezuelan men, and the ICE agent claimed that the Venezuelan men, he chased them down, and then they beat him with shovels and were jumping him, and then he had to fire shots to save his own life. Well, that is proven to be a lie. The charges against those two men have been dropped, and that agent, as well as another agent who was on the scene, are now facing charges of perjury because they lied in sworn statements. And apparently that there's video which proves that they lied. On top of this, well, actually, just pausing on that for a second. This agency, ICE and Border Patrol and DHS, they have no credibility. I've just proven that right here with 3 separate shootings that they have lied and been proved to have lied about. Then we move on to who are these people that they are giving a gun and a license to kill in the United States of America? And an independent journalist actually went ahead and took herself through the ICE application process. And what she says is just shocking.
Absolutely. So the hiring event, basically, you brought your resume in, you handed it over, they were going to do an interview, and they were promising on-the-spot hiring to where you could, in fact, walk out with your $50,000 bonus that day, possibly. I went in, I handed in my resume, which was, I did a skills-based resume. I'm a veteran, I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. So on the surface, the resume looked pretty good. Had a very brief interview, took all of 6 minutes. They didn't ask very many questions. And then I left, assuming I would never hear back, because I'm a very Googleable person. I have an unusual name. I'm the only Laura Judith on the internet. And I make no secret of how I feel about ICE and Trump and all of it. So I was not expecting several days later to receive a tentative offer. I missed it in my inbox and it sunk to the bottom, which means that I never filled out the paperwork they requested. I never accepted the tentative offer. I never filled out my background check paperwork. I never signed the affidavit saying I committed no domestic violence crimes, none of it. A few weeks later, I got a message from LabCorp saying that ICE wanted me to do a drug test, and I went ahead and did that. I was pretty sure I wouldn't pass. I'd partaken in legal cannabis 6 days before the test, but why not waste some of their money, right? And then 9 days after that, I decided I wanted to, I was curious, had they processed the drug test yet? So I logged onto the ICE hiring portal, and what I found was that not only did the drug test not seem to be relevant, I was listed as having joined ICE as of 3 days earlier. I had listed that I had accepted the offer. They had offered me a final position as a deportation officer. My background check was listed as completed 3 days in the future from when I was looking at it. So it seems like the answer to the question, who are they hiring, is they don't know.
Wow.
Wow. They don't, this lady's background check was approved 3 days in the future. She smoked weed and they didn't care, or rather she doesn't even know if the test, if they even viewed the test or whatever. She didn't even sign the document or provide a police report, which proves that she has no instances of domestic violence in her background. And they said, come on in. We know for a fact that some of these Border Patrol and ICE agents are drug users, and they are drug users with federal firearms. We had an instance in Long Beach, California last year of an ICE agent who died from a cocaine overdose after he fought with the police because he took his firearm into the women's bathroom of a restaurant.
An update tonight to a story we've been following for months. We now know the cause of death
for a controversial Border Patrol agent arrested at a Long Beach restaurant.
CBS LA's Simon Editor Mike Rogers at the desk. Mike, you showed us the body cam video last week and said the cause of death was pending. Tonight, you've got the follow-up for us.
Yeah, we do. From the Riverside County Coroner's Office, finally confirming to us that Isaiah Hodgson died of a cocaine overdose. Cocaine toxicity was the cause of death. The manner of death ruled accidental. Now, remember, we showed you this video last week of Isaiah Hodgson being arrested in Long Beach by the Long Beach Police Department, accused of being intoxicated and pulling out a gun inside of a women's restroom there at a Yard House restaurant. Long Beach police arrived. They ultimately had to tase Hodgson to be able to take him into custody. Isaiah Hodgson, well known around Southern California after his controversial arrest of Adrian Martinez, a 20-year-old Walmart employee in a Pico Rivera parking lot over the summer. Hodgson was detained, taken into custody, and charged. And while he was out on bail, he was found dead inside of a home in Hemet. This is video from that arrest of Adrian Martinez back in July, and Hodgson was the primary agent taking him into custody. Now, we told you this, that he was arrested after all of this, and now the coroner's office there in Riverside determining the cause of death to be accidental. And again, saying cocaine toxicity was ultimately what killed Isaiah Hodgson. He does still have a court hearing, even though he's dead. He has a court date coming up on December 15th. Obviously, he won't be there. It is the final proceedings, to close the case against him. We have learned that his parents are expected to be there at that hearing. It's unclear if they'll speak. We will try to be there as well, guys.
So the credibility of DHS just goes down and down and down every time I look at one of these news reports and videos. We know that they lie about shooting American citizens and people and human beings in general. And we also know, at least I believe, and we have strong evidence that they do not give out, that they do not drug test their agents while they give them firearms and license to kill. And we also know that the very language that they use when they're out on the streets dealing with people is fascistic. And the tactics that they use are fascistic. And the director of ICE, who was testifying before Congress, admitted that their tactics resemble the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany.
And whatever she's doing, following law enforcement officer, federal law enforcement officer.
Why are you raising your voice?
Because you raise your voice.
Let's bring it down
and you
then.
don't raise my voice, okay?
Let's just do it.
You don't tell me. You don't tell me if I raise my voice or not, because I will tell you this, brother.
What?
You know? I will tell you this. You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
You what? You erase my voice?
Whatever it is.
You erase my voice? Is that what you said? If I raise my voice, you'll erase my...
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice? Wow. Unbelievable.
It's not illegal to record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist. So
We're videotaping you?
Worry that people who are here
Are you crazy?
up in the crackdown. New at 10, this U.S. citizen claims ICE agents left him hurt and hospitalized. That man, who was born in Liberia, calls it a rude awakening.
America is the place of dream. Equal opportunity, equal right, dreams, based on how I got treated yesterday.
Ubali spoke to that man and shows us the video of the controversial confrontation.
Cell phone video shows the encounter between Emmanuel Saki and federal agents outside Family Dollar in Brooklyn Park.
Started saying, oh, whose car is this? This car is coming to register as somebody named Joseph. I'm like, no, this car is registered in my fiance's name.
Saki, a Liberian-born, naturalized U.S. citizen, says he showed the agents his driver's license, his name, his photo, proof of who he is.
Asked me, can you give more proof that you are a citizen? I told him I don't have the proof on me right now.
That's when he says the situation escalated and a struggle ensued, with Saki in handcuffs before being put in a federal vehicle.
I'm a legal citizen, and this is my first time being handcuffed in my whole life.
He says he was taken to an unknown location before being let go. He says he was badly bruised and went to the hospital.
I've been treated like an animal and already hurt me.
He says he immigrated legally to the United States for a better life and to reunite with family.
I tell America it's the place of dream. Equal opportunity, equal right, dreams, based on how I got treated yesterday.
For Saki, he says his oath of citizenship and this certificate didn't protect him.
I feel like They see no dream in America.
Uba Ali, WCCO News.
Why are you asking me for my paperwork? Because of your accent. I still, you have an accent too. Where were you born, sir? Where were you born at? Put your hands behind your back.
Ramon Monero was detained by U.S. Border Patrol agents outside his home in a Minneapolis suburb after an agent questioned whether he was a citizen because of his accent.
I'm from this country. You know what, sir? Now talking to you, hearing that you have an accent, I have reason to believe that you are not born of this country. So you just made an accent? What country are you from?
According to Monero, agents took a photo of him and searched a system that indicated he's been a U.S. citizen since 2019. They also checked his U.S. passport card, which he keeps in his wallet before letting him go. Monero, who was born in Mexico and obtained a U.S. passport in 2021, was detained in front of his 5-year-old daughter.
Well, she was shaking when I got in the home, and she's like, "Are you okay? That we're gonna take you? I don't want to lose you." And I'm like, "You're not gonna lose me." Even though I'm a citizen, I'm still afraid because they don't care if you're a citizen or not. And especially because I know I have a really strong accent speaking English, I know I can be a target because that's who are they targeting just because our appearance and because of our accent.
About asking people walking on the streets of America to show proof of citizenship.
Sir, as I stated earlier, the men and women of ICE, deportation officers, special agents, we conduct targeted intelligence-driven operation. We don't walk around on the streets asking people about their American citizenship.
Really? So all of those individual American citizens who have been randomly asked are lying. Is that what you're saying?
Sir, if the men and women of ICE are conducting an investigation, whether it be for Title VIII immigration enforcement or Title 18 criminal enforcement, they'll ask someone their nationality.
Right, but that's not targeted because they're asking all sorts of American citizens, including off-duty law enforcement. Now, have you directed at any point your agents under the Supreme Court's racial profiling ruling to only stop non-white people and those who look like immigrants to ask for their citizenship papers?
No, sir, I haven't.
Now, you are aware, of course, and there's well-documented, numerous well-documented instances of people, American citizens, being asked to show and prove their citizenship. Do you know what other regimes in the 20th century required similar proof of citizenship?
Yes, sir.
What?
Sir, there was various nefarious regimes that did that.
Is Nazi Germany one?
Yes, but
Is the Soviet Union one?
I honestly...
Sir, I'm asking the questions. Is the Soviet Union one?
Yes, sir, but I totally, this is the wrong type of questioning.
I'll tell you what the wrong type of
actually,
thing
sir,
is. Sir, it's my
Holocaust
time.
Museum
Reclaiming my time, sir.
If you want to go see
Reclaiming
Nazis,
my
that's
time,
what
Mr.
it is.
Chairman.
It's not the men and women of ICE that are out there doing it every day. So to say that the men and women of ICE are
Mr. Chairman, I'm reclaiming my time. I would like my
wrong.
time back, please. Please give me another 15 seconds because he was unnecessarily speaking. You said in your opening statement that references to ICE as the Gestapo or the secret police encourages threats against ICE agents.
100%.
The problem is you have it backwards, sir. People are simply making valid observations about your tactics, which are un-American and outright fascist. So I have a simple suggestion. If you don't want to be called a fascist regime or secret police, then stop acting like one. But people are simply just observing what they are seeing. And that's
what the hell I'm seeing. I'm seeing a rogue, unaccountable, untrained, unqualified secret police roaming the streets. And you heard what they said in those first two clips to that lady who was recording them. That they said, we're gonna take your name and we're gonna put you in a domestic terrorist watch list because she was recording them. That first gentleman said, that lady, she's following us, she's recording us, she cannot do that. Bullshit. The First Amendment provides protections to record anybody in public. That includes ICE and government officials in the process of their duty. So for these people to come and to threaten American citizens for doing what is protected under our Constitution. And then on top of that, racially profiling people, which is the antithesis to what this country is supposed to be. We're supposed to have equal protections under the law, not, oh, if you're a certain skin color or if you talk a certain way because you're from Africa, we get to put hands on you and violate you. That's stuff they do in Israel and Russia and China, not the United States of America. And then it makes it even worse when you add on what I said earlier about their credibility being shot for lying about the American citizens that they shot. They called this man Alex Preddy. Let me put the picture up. They called this gentleman on the right, Mr. Alex Preddy, a domestic terrorist. 6 ICE agents beat the hell out of him, pepper sprayed him, then they disarmed him, and they put 2 bullets in him. Then they backed up and put 8 more into his body. Look at that photo. At this point, he is disarmed. He has his knees on the ground. His hands are pointed towards the ground. And they put 1 in the back of his head. And I'm not surprised by any of this stuff. And then to add on to it, we had an ICE whistleblower come out this week and make it known. These people that they're sending out, they are untrained. And the people at the top are telling us that they don't have to be trained properly.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, Representative Garcia, members of the committee. My name is Ryan Schwank. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution when I joined ICE on August 1st, 2021, as an Assistant Chief Counsel. I followed that oath for 4.5 years, working side by side with ICE officers. And I followed it when I resigned.
Hey, Mark, is there an issue with the video?
2026, a little over a week ago, so that I could speak to you today.
My bad, you can't hear it? Let me play it one more time.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, Representative Garcia, members of the committee. My name is Ryan Schwank. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution when I joined ICE on August 1st, 2021, as an Assistant Chief Counsel. I followed that oath for 4.5 years, working side by side with ICE officers. And I followed it when I resigned on February 13th, 2026, a little over a week ago, so that I could speak to you today. I am here because I am duty-bound to report the legally required training program at the ICE Academy is deficient, defective, and broken. 5 months ago, I was asked to teach the law to new cadets at the ICE Academy in Glencoe, Georgia, where ICE is training its new, inexperienced recruits. I volunteered, those without law enforcement training, I volunteered to take on this assignment based on my experience in law enforcement oversight, including at the state and local level prior to my work with ICE. On my first day, I received secretive orders to teach new cadets to violate the Constitution by entering homes without a judicial warrant. For the last 5 months, I watched ICE dismantle the training program, cutting 240 hours of vital classes from a 584-hour program. Classes that teach the Constitution, our legal system, firearms training, the use of force, lawful arrests, proper detention, and the limits of officers' authority. For example, they ceased all of the legal instructions regarding use of force. This means that cadets are not taught what it means to be objectively reasonable, the very standard which the law requires them to meet when deciding whether or not to use deadly force. Our jobs as instructors are to teach them so well that they can make split-second decisions about what they can and cannot do in life or death situations. Yet, in the name of churning out an endless stream of officers, DHS leadership has dismantled
The video stopped playing again.
And practical tests that we need to know if cadets can safely and lawfully perform their job. All to satisfy an administration demanding they train thousands of new officers before the end of the year. DHS told the public that new cadets receive all the training they need to perform their duties, that no critical material or standards have been cut. This is a lie. ICE made the program shorter, and they removed so many essential parts that what remains is a dangerous husk. No reasonable person would believe a training program suddenly cut nearly in half could meet the minimum legal requirements. These aren't abstract rules. They're required in regulations such as 8 CFR 287G1. Congress requires immigration officers to meet minimum standards for a reason. ICE cannot lawfully perform their duties, make arrests, carry weapons, and use force without passing appropriate training. New cadets are graduating from the academy despite widespread concerns among training staff that even in the final days of training, the cadets cannot demonstrate a solid grasp of the tactics or the law required to perform their jobs. Without reform, ICE will graduate thousands of new officers who do not know their constitutional duty, do not know the limits of their authority, and who do not have the training to recognize an unlawful order. That should scare everyone. DHS assures the public these cadets can get the job training on compensate for anything missing at the academy. This is a lie. Many graduates go to their home office just long enough to get their gun, their badge, and their body armor before deploying to places like Minneapolis and other ICE operations with minimal supervision. It's shocking that anyone would think this is safe or responsible. And this pattern of lies is not isolated. It extends beyond the training program to include deceiving Congress and the public about the rules followed by ICE officers once they graduate. On my first day at the academy, I was instructed to read and return a memo in my supervisor's presence, which claimed ICE officers could enter homes without a judicial warrant. The acting ICE director authorized the very conduct that DHS, in its own 2025 legal training materials, had called the chief evil against which the wording of the Fourth Amendment is directed. That is, physical entry of the home without consent or a proper warrant. Never in my career had I ever received such a blatantly unlawful order, nor one conveyed in such a troubling manner. Incredibly, I was being shown this memo in secret by my supervisor, who made sure that I understood that disobedience could cost me my job. ICE is teaching cadets to violate the Constitution, and they were attempting to cloak it in secrecy by demanding that I lie about it. I am here to convey to the public the danger that is being created at the ICE Academy. I know from my conversations with many facility members, many of the faculty, that I am not alone in my fear. Law enforcement is a deadly serious business. It is not a place for shortcuts. Deficient training can and will get people killed. It can and will lead to unlawful arrests, violations of constitutional rights, and a fundamental loss of public trust in law enforcement. ICE is lying to Congress and the American people about the steps it is taking to ensure its 12,000 new officers faithfully uphold the Constitution and can perform their jobs. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to you today and happy to answer any questions you have now or in the future. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Schwank. Mr. Brunel.
God bless Mr. Swank. He is a patriot. God bless him for standing up and telling the truth. God bless him for not being a fool and a coward and just simply bowing down and taking secret orders. John F. Kennedy, one of the greatest champions of liberal of liberal democracy, of liberal rights and liberal freedoms, maybe in the history of this world. He said that we do not bow to a tribe. He said that we, as a society, do not bow to secret orders and to secret police or to secret. I mean, I'm just like stunned for a little bit. They asked this man to teach they didn't say that they asked him to teach recruits to violate the Fourth Amendment. They simply just took that course out of the curriculum to become a federal agent who has a gun and who could unalive people and they're teaching them that you don't have to go to a judge to get a warrant to enter somebody's home, that you just have to go to your supervisor and they sign an administrative warrant, and that's enough. I don't know what world we are living in. I don't know what world we are living in where this is the United States of America. This type of shit don't happen in my country, where people tell you that you could get killed or you could get taken to jail for videotaping people in public, where you're being told that you can have your door kicked in if you talk a certain way or if your skin is a certain color. I don't know what world we're living in. I mean, we saw earlier around May of last year where they sent Black Hawk helicopters to Chicago, and they grappled down and broke into an apartment building and had black U.S. citizen children zip tied in a U-Haul van. And my biggest problem, before I let you go, AC, and now I come to Sir Foul Player. Y'all have been very good letting me get my spiel off. And my biggest problem is it's all based on lies. This lie that illegal immigrants or immigrants in general are a drain on the system is a lie. The Cato Institute, which is a heavy right-leaning institute and study think tank, they came out with a 30-year study, and they found that immigrants have been a $14 trillion boon to our economy and to our government revenue. And you see it right there highlighted. Non-citizens, meaning illegal immigrants, they take in, hold on, AC, go on mute. Illegal immigrants take in $6 trillion of federal benefits over 30 years, and they've paid almost $11 trillion in taxes, on top of $1.7 trillion in interest savings. That's $6 trillion that they've added to government revenue, on top of the $8 trillion from naturalized citizens, adding up to $14 trillion. So we would be $14 trillion more in debt if not for outsiders, if not for immigrants and illegal, quote unquote, illegal immigrants. And then my next biggest problem, they say they're going after the worst of the worst. They're lying. 73% of the people they're picking up have no conviction record, have no criminal record. And then if you look at this chart, this is just for the month of October to November, but if you look at this chart, only 5% of them, of the people that they've detained and plan to deport, have violent criminal records. Most of the criminal convictions are from traffic stuff. Probably unpaid tickets or something like that. So we're gonna go out here, we're gonna beat up abuelas, we're gonna grab fathers who've put down roots in the United States, raised children to college age, and we're gonna send them out of the country. These are tax-paying citizens. We're gonna demonize them. I don't have the chart up here, but Donald Trump's approval rating on the issue of immigration is now 20 points underwater. 60% of the country does not agree with him on immigration. And this is an issue he's supposed to be kicking ass on. Like, if Donald Trump had just closed the border and then left everything as it was, he would be in great position right now. But no, he closed the border and then he unleashed a secret police that is unaccountable to the Constitution, that is unaccountable to Congress and federal statutes they've put down. I just and then one more thing before I come to you, AC. We've now just found out a fourth U.S. citizen has been killed by ICE. This took place last year in 2025. This young 23-year-old man, they claim he tried to run ICE agents over with his car. This young man who had never even been arrested, had no record of violence, was just driving home to his abuela, and they shot him in his car. Like, bruh, where has my country gone? Where has my country gone?
Well, For
Go
me,
ahead, AC. Yeah, give me your thoughts on the
I'm gonna
new
start it
Mongoose
like
gang.
this. I'm gonna start it like this. At the beginning of this administration, when this man was talking about ICE, right, forming this ICE police, and then we saw what they was doing. I said, go back to the first administration where he tried to establish his secret police over in Portland, where they had these guys driving around in minivans, masked up, no badges, no identifying markings, and they would just snatch people off the street. We saw the one protester that they took, or a couple of protesters that they took downtown Portland. So when that wasn't met with the right force, when that wasn't a judicial thing, when the new administration came in to find out who these people were, to immediately prosecute them, to immediately find out where were these people that they took, detained and everything else, that all became something whatever, because of, rightfully so, maybe because of COVID. But I'm a person that feels like this. I can chew gum and walk at the same time. I could chew gum, walk, and listen to music at the same time. So for me, that was one of my biggest disappointments of the last administration, because they did not prosecute, and rightfully so, go after that the previous administration's secret police. That would have gave great pause moving forward to try to now establish this new secret army. ICE has over 20,000 members and growing and growing. So when I was talking
And
that,
don't forget 12,000 Border Patrol agents they just added.
exactly. So when I was making the statement that if an ICE agent walks up to you, give them that same energy. Where are all of my gang members at? Where are all of my street thugs, all my straight up killers, the dudes that'll be willing to kill yourselves, kill each other for nothing? Now here's a group of people. Test the courts. Test the courts. Because I'd rather go to jail for shooting one of them than go to jail for shooting my own kind. At least a dude on the street off a silly street beef. This is bigger than the street beef. So when I said these are not real federal agents, they don't have identifying markings. No federal agent walks up to your mask. When the federal agent walks up to you, the first thing they do is drop that badge on you. Bang! Here it is. Now you know what you're working with. Here is my name. Here's my badge number. This is what I'm investigating. When federal agents do investigations, it happens in the office. Then they do field work. And then when they come to get you, there is nothing you can say because they have all the evidence against you. You know, so me, I'm like, look, when Obama took over with Tom Homan, you deported all of those people and there was no cruelty. There was no reports of anyone dying in a detention center or anything like that. Donald Trump brings in the same people, and then they purposely say the intent is cruelty. So if your intent is cruelty and not uphold the law, then I'm going to challenge the law and your cruelty by giving you the same energy. To me, it wasn't a black issue. Oh, well, they just going after Spanish people, so I'm a black guy. I don't need to say nothing. Okay, so what you going to do when they start turning on you? Well, they go because they supposed to be immigration. Well, what happened to that building in Chicago? What's going on in Atlanta, Georgia right now? What's going on, bruh? Where are all of y'all at right now? And y'all quiet as church mice. Because I don't see nobody talking about it. I seen more FBA dudes talk about Fat Joe and his relation and Puerto Rican's relationship to hip hop than I see any FBA dude talking about the two black people that got arrested and ICE agents ran up in their crib. They ain't talking about that, but y'all rather talk about Fat Joe. So at the end of the day, bro, I've been said it. They're not real agents. Arm yourself. Use your Second Amendment. That's what it's for. The Bill of Rights told you. This is part of your Bill of Rights. This is part of your Constitution. Legally arm yourself. Many cities and states, they may not let you get a handgun, but you don't need one. because a shotgun is a lot more effective. Because when that jump off bark, it barks. And then the spread. So it's a lot more effective than a little handgun. So at the end of the day, man, people call my crash out, whatever it is, because I was disgusted, because I was at the point where I've been speaking on it. I've been trying to warn everybody. And now here it is. We got one death, and now we got another death. You cannot sit here and tell me nothing after that, because I don't want to hear you. Because if you try to talk to me and justify it, I'm going to look at you like you're an undercover ICE agent. Because you're out here, after what you just saw, you're trying to deny that. And you could not be around me within my presence. 6 feet from me, 10 feet from me, it does not matter. If I hear you say that, I'm coming after you. I'm going to get at you. I'm going to put hands on you. Because you disgust me. So for me, that's what my thing was about, because I was consistent in it. Constant stakes in the ground. Constant persistent of telling people your Second Amendment supersedes what they are trying to do. It supersedes that. So you have the right to arm yourself. If they think they could run up in your house by some internal memo, bro, let me see you come at me with my marsh burn pointed right at you. Let me see you come in my house with my marsh burn in my hand. I'm on my Denzel Washington. I'm like a surgeon with this MF. So let you think you coming up in my crib and I got my marsh burn. Bro, your joint will be splattered all through my hallway. Because I'm not aiming for the chest. I'm aiming for the groin or the head. Both heads. I'm making sure there is no survival between you. And I stand on 10 for that, because my Second Amendment tells me that. Now there's the issue with the Second Amendment. So all of these guys that are ICE sympathizers, all of these guys that are whatever, go F yourself as far as I'm concerned. And any Latino dude want to talk to me about ICE, you're a pathetic piece of I don't know what. Because here's the reality of it. Latinos are running to service ICE at the largest increment.
The two people that shot Mr. Petty in this picture were Latinos.
So that tells you what you need to know. 30%. They lead the higher rate in ICE. 30%. The
The boy that died of a cocaine overdose after he took his gun into a woman's bathroom was a Latino.
So understand this. A Latina a psychiatrist kind of broke it down. She said, since Latinos have been in this country, they've been trying to prove themselves. This administration allows them a sick way to think that they're doing their part for the country, which getting rid of the illegals. Like I said, if you're a Christian, you're a God-fearing person, who is illegal on God's green earth? And that's where I land my plane.
Absolutely. So, Foul Player, you've been very patient, my brother. You've been very quiet. I know you to be an ICE supporter, so I want to hear your thoughts on some of these just facts I've laid out about them blatantly lying about their training program, the whistleblower, what he had to say. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for letting me come through again. And also, well, like to start it off, I'm not a ICE lover or I'm more of a present with what's the condition that was allowed to happen under the Biden administration, wide open border policy.
Yo, Mark, I can't listen to this fuckboy.
Shut the fuck up, man. Like, exactly. Don't listen to like dip off then. Like, what the fuck,
bro? I got it.
This is corny, bro.
Give your spiel.
You over here telling like black dudes to crash out like in defense of illegal immigrants.
Give your spiel. I removed him from the panel. He's gone. Go ahead, give your spiel. Okay, go ahead.
Damn, dog. What the fuck? But nevertheless, the wide open border policy of the last administration had allowed all these illegal immigrants into the country. I don't want to put a number on it. I mean, the number that's been alleged by the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, has been 28 million. I mean, some people will say 10 million, but we already had an illegal immigration problem in my city, New York City. In addition to this country, we already had issues in terms of illegal immigrants being in this country. And it was only exacerbated again under the Biden administration. At the end of the day, I mean, the ICE, the publicity that they're getting of late, I wasn't really privy to their tactics or much to do with ICE in general. I mean, like, I actually work right around the block from an ICE facility in New York City. But under the Obama administration, they had zero press. Now under the Trump administration, I mean, where a lot of people in this country are tribalized, in addition to the two brothers that are on the panel with me right now, you guys are both tribalized. Whereas the political agendas that you'll adopt, more likely than not, are just whatever Trump is doing, I'm just going to be against. I mean, and I'm not like knocking it. Like, I mean, maybe you guys could be misinformed in some instances. Maybe you just
Can I
don't.
ask you a question, Sir Foul Player?
Let me just you might, yeah, of course. Let me just finish saying what I'm saying. But I don't agree with like ICE as a agency necessarily, because I'm not going to say that I know every nook and cranny about ICE in general. What I do agree with is the fact that the mission that they're trying to accomplish, which is the removal of a high number of illegal immigrants in America. If that gets done by ICE, I mean, I'm with it. If that gets done by any other agency, I'm with it. If they want to pivot, like ICE can't, like ICE as is currently constructed and with the number of agents that they have, they won't be able to get off immigration or the number of immigrants that I deem necessary to leave this country. Like, I honestly think that it's out of their realm of possibility with the limited number that they do have, and with the high amount of illegal immigrants that are in America. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just agree with the mission, which is getting a lot of these illegal immigrants out of here because they affect minority communities first. Every illegal community that enters into America affects Moors or so-called Black people, as you brothers may call them, in addition to Latinos that are already in America. I mean, you guys mentioned the fact that Latinos are joining ICE in rapid pace. And that's because a lot of Latin dudes that are in this country don't want more illegal immigrants into the country, whether they got here legally or illegally. They just don't want more in America because it affects them first. You know, like these illegal immigrants are gonna move into communities that are already inhabited by Moors, so-called Black people, or Latinos that are already in America. So I mean, and again, like, you know, it only exacerbates the many problems that this country already has, like economically, like these people are drained. I mean, whether you want to pump out some statistic as to how much they do contribute, they can go contribute in their countries. You know, like, we don't need more contributors when right now young people are struggling to buy homes, rents are through the roof. I mean, like New York City, I don't even like going into New York no more from the amount of people that are there. But it's not a New York City centric problem. America has these same problems in terms of real estate prices, the affordability, being out of the grasp of the most common American, and illegal immigrants don't help that for any regular person that's already living in America. I'm sorry, and you asked me a question.
Well, okay. Well, you pretty much answered my question. I was going to ask you, why are illegal immigrants bad? I'm just going to debunk you and say they're not bad. And you could say it's a statistic, but no, this is a in-depth study of census data and tax data. Illegal immigrants are not a drain on this economy or federal benefit. Go on mute, Sir Fabio. You got
I'm
a bit
sorry.
of an echo.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. No, but I was just saying, they're not a drain on the economy, and it's demonstrated right here. If anything, we would be in even worse debt by over 50 to 60 trillion dollars if we didn't have illegal immigrants in this country. So no, and then what also you said, you don't understand. You said the ICE didn't get this much publicity under Obama. Under Obama, 90% of the people that were sent back had criminal convictions. Okay? 70% of the people ICE is picking up have no criminal convictions. It's completely different. Not only that, Survivor Player, I just laid out for you with all these news reports, as well as the whistleblower who was an ICE instructor who says that they're being taught to who says that ICE cadets are being taught to break the Constitution, are being taught to violate the Constitution. They're being taught to violate the First Amendment when they beat people up and try to detain them for videotaping them or threatening them by telling them, I'll erase your voice, or we're going to put you in a database for domestic terrorists for videotaping you. Or when they say, we can break down people's door without getting a judicial warrant. Like, all of that violates the Constitution blatantly. And then it's like, but Survivor Player, I disagree with you completely about Joe Biden. If anything, Joe Biden's deportation numbers, they trounced Donald Trump's deportation numbers easily. Like, it's not even a comparison. Donald Trump deported 200,000 to 600,000 people last year. Joe Biden in his first year deported 1.3 million people. It's not even comparable in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But Survivor Player, let me just ask you, how do you feel about the fact that, because I believe you're a Puerto Rican, you're a Latino. How would you feel if some masked guy walked up to you and grabbed you because he said you looked Latino, or he said you looked like you're from another country?
I mean, I don't like any sort of interaction with the police, period. But one thing that I haven't experienced since this ICE operation has undertaken, I haven't seen New York motherfuckers that are like so-called black Moors or New York dudes that are Latino having these experiences of being misconstrued to be from some other country at the hands of ICE agents. You know, like, it's just an experience that really hasn't touched down. Like the one example that you gave in regards to like the Chicago and the police officers rappelling down the building, it's the only example that I see that's been really put out there, like in mass.
You didn't
And
see
like
that
that
example
happened
of the Liberian dude getting beat up when he was a U.S. citizen?
I
Or
mean,
the
but look
father
at
that
that
got
dude though,
arrested?
man. That dude had a crazy accent. I mean, like, and I'm not saying that is right, but you know, at the end of the day, like, you're gonna crack a few shells, like, to get the immigration operation that's necessary underway. I mean, you're gonna crack a few shells along the way. In addition to the fact that this has never happened in like where a law enforcement agency or a government agency that enforces law has been obstructed by like people trying to scrap with them, trying to throw their cars in the midst of like them operating. That's never really happened. It's only happened like in history this time that we're talking about right now. And
That's a load of bull crap. We had the
no,
civil
I mean,
rights
at this
movement.
frequency though, like, I mean, at this
Yes.
frequency, and like in addition to the fact that like they're getting all like this bad press, like
You
again,
understand Martin Luther King literally went to places like Alabama and Georgia and had a sit-in at the police station so that he could get beat up and arrested. Like, you know that's a thing. That's called demonstrating.
that was called peace. That was called peaceful obstructing. Like what's happening, like with the ICE operations.
So
Like,
let me ask you about this fella, Alex Preddy, who was just holding a phone, and then they pepper sprayed him and beat the hell out of him with 8 people and shot him 10 times. Do you think that was justified?
I'm not gonna say like whether it's justified or not necessarily. I kind of like, but at the end of the day, he did have a ratchet on him. You know, he wasn't just holding a phone.
They
I
took
mean,
the
like,
ratchet off him, right?
but that's a kind of like bang bang scenario in a sense, you know, like where things happen, like you know, you already like you don't know if the dude's armed with another weapon, like the dude was there like with the intention of like obstructing the operation. At the end of the day, I'm not saying it's justified. I don't want anybody to die. Like ultimately,
He was not
like
obstructing, and it leads to my broader point, Sir Foul Player. These people are not trained. They're unqualified. The fact that they beat the hell out of this man, they had 8 people on top of him. Then they had another guy coming out of nowhere, disarm him, doesn't let anybody know that they disarmed him. And then after he gets disarmed, this dude puts 2 bullets in the back of his head while he's facing the ground.
Marky, in an instance like that, with at the speed of battle, like it's really hard to I'm not saying it's right or justified, but to be able to like tell that the guy's not armed anymore, like, and the guy
Do you
at the
think that there
ultimate,
should be consequences? You think there should be consequences?
in that instance, like judging from like what I'm seeing, honestly, no. Like I would say no. Like I mean, like, and again, I'm not like somebody who aligns with the police. I fucking hate cops. Like at the end of the day, like I never look like I'm driving and then see a cop and say, oh well, I back the blue. Like like I hate like I don't want bad shit to happen to cops.
But I'm
But I
talking
hate
about like a really specific instance of foul player. Like
that.
you're
No,
looking at
yeah.
this man, his hands are facing the ground, like his knees are on the ground, and this man has a gun to the back of his head.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I really like don't. It's I'm not gonna say it's right, but I really don't think that it was. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's justified neither, but I really can't like crack down on the people that were involved in that, because ultimately the dude was armed. Like you don't know if he's armed like with another weapon. He was there to obstruct. I mean, he wasn't there like with like he was part of that, probably part of the network that was spotting where these people like
Is
that were
videotaping law enforcement obstructing them?
No, but I'm saying in the terms of like he didn't get there at random. Like he didn't show up randomly with a gun, like and just happened to be walking by and then started filming.
Is
Like he
walking with a legal concealed carry weapon illegal?
No, but walking in the midst of a ICE operation where you're just where you're only there like to be in the way isn't advisable. I mean, like
He wasn't in the way. He was videotaping them.
Nah, I don't think he was solely there videotaping. I think he was trying to shake it up with these dudes. Like at the end of the day, and I mean, if he was down there like with that intention, like I mean, don't go with the strap. I mean, like you probably go and from what was said
So
regarding
Americans should be afraid to exercise their constitutional rights. That's what you're telling me.
Americans should flex their constitutional rights far more.
Not according to you.
No. But if you're going there like with the intention of like obstructing like these operations from happening, like, and you go with the intention.
But to be clear, he was not obstructing. He was not.
Well, no. Well, I'm pretty sure he was showing up to where ICE people were operating, and that he didn't agree with them operating, and was going with that intention. I mean, like, and again, I don't think it was just a case of him filming innocently. I think he was more.
And that's worthy of a death sentence for foul player?
Certainly not.
Because you don't like what ICE is doing and you're filming it?
No, I think
Go ahead.
But again, too, you got in a vacuum as to what was going on in Minneapolis or Minnesota. Like they were vast networks that were happening on WhatsApp, which I think the lieutenant governor was a part of, in which they were tracking like ICE operations, tracking like their license plates, which I mean, and again, I'm not 100% sure that Mr. Preddy was part of that. I could probably bet that he was though. But and this is not happening. No, I mean, well, it's not. It really shouldn't be illegal, honestly. Like
that's First Amendment protected activity. If a license plate is in public, you can take a picture of it.
Where the lieutenant governor is involved in something like that, I mean, like where she has access to, like these people were putting up license plates of these vehicles, like taking pictures of their personal vehicles at times, and if you have somebody like the lieutenant governor involved in that, where she actually could give access to the addresses of where these agents are staying, like who these agents are, then that's where the it becomes problematic, like dangerous even. And again, too, like it's not like this is the governor and I'm pretty sure the lieutenant governor, they're flaming liberals. I mean, like these are people that, I mean, they like if it were up to them, like they'd rather see ICE agents, dead or not operating there, or are calling them fascist or Nazis and all these other crazy terms.
Let me ask you another question. How do you feel about law enforcement agents with a license to kill and a firearm being masked and unidentifiable?
Well, in terms of like the deportation operation that's happening, because things are
In
so
terms of
tribalized.
ICE agents and BPD agents in general, because they're all
Yeah,
masked and they all
no,
don't wear nameplates and
yeah,
badges.
I was referring to them specifically, like because like that issue is so tribalized, and a lot of these white liberals are willing to die or wipe out families of ICE agents, and this is not a empty threat. Like this is conversations such as in those WhatsApp groups that were actually happening, like where these people are suggesting going after ICE agents' families and whatnot. I would think that in this case, it's almost necessary. I mean, like, I would
So
do
to
it.
be clear, if a government official is in the process of doing their duty and they're threatened, they should be able to wear a mask and be secret.
If their families are threatened, if it's potentially like where these people like their personal vehicles, license plates are being tracked down, and like these crazy white liberals are looking for where these agents live. I mean, like, I don't blame them. I mean, I'd be it's
So
almost
file player, the country you're describing is a place like Israel or China. All right, this is not the United States of America you're describing. We had a situation where the judge who was presiding over El Chapo's case, his daughter who was at college, somebody left a bullet in her dorm. They just put it right at at her doorway. That judge did not get to take a mask, get to put on a mask and be a secret judge. Like this is not no kangaroo court, banana republic, where you have people that take our tax dollars who get to abuse us, beat the hell out of us, shoot us dead, detain us for days without seeing our legal counsel, and they get to remain secret. Like that's not how it ever works in a free society, a Surfile player. But we're just gonna continue to disagree on this. I look at these people as secret police. You don't want me to call them Nazis or fascists or Gestapo or KGB. You don't want me to say that. They're secret police. We don't know who these people are that's walking around with guns, who are probably untrained, unqualified. They're probably on drugs, given the reporting that's come out and given what that ICE whistleblower said. Absolutely not. But we just gonna disagree on that.
You could actually reframe that. They're police having to operate in secrecy based on the conditions.
Yeah, they're secret police, but we're gonna move on from that. Prayers for these people in these situations and in these communities, because I don't agree with Surfile player at all. But moving on. Actually, you know what? Before we move on to the tariffs, Surfile player, what's your thoughts on what's going on in Iran and the Middle East right now, with the no new wars president?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I mean, like, I don't agree with war. Like, it's one of the reasons why I think why I started my political observations as a liberal, is because I was opposed to war. I'm a mid-90s liberal, and in the mid-90s, the liberals were always anti-war. I don't agree with any new wars setting off. I mean, not too comfortable with this war potentially being fought on behalf of a Middle Eastern nation that tends to get us into these situations. But I mean, and I have a theory regarding this stuff too, in terms of Iran. Like, I think that if Iran's supreme leader is wiped off the face of the earth, that we'd be a lot safer as Americans, and that the world would be a lot safer. But I also think, I mean, and you're not going to agree with this theory like that I have, and I've been operating with this theory for over 2 years now, in that Iran being radicalized benefits Israel, to be frank. I mean, and today, I mean, kind of like reinforced my my theory. And I'm not saying my theory is right. I mean, my theory's mine's alone. But a lot of the retaliatory strikes that Iran has been throwing off have actually been less in the direction of Israel and more in the direction of these Arab nations that support the United States. Those Arab nations don't support Israel as policy. They support the United States as policy, like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. But a lot of the retaliatory strikes have been going in their direction. But like the eliminating of the Iranian regime, and it's not with the Iranian like the religious regime, I think is a benefit to the world. But I really don't have much of an opinion right now, Marky Dan, because it just set off, and like I'm
By
not
the
gonna
way, breaking news: Iran's supreme leader is dead. Israel got him. They got him.
see,
They got him.
and I think that's a good thing. I mean, like, you know, but what inspire, like,
I
let's say,
don't, and what I'll say, I agree with you. Uh, um, Israel wants Iran to be radicalized. I don't necessarily think it's beneficial for Israel or the wider region, but it's beneficial to Israel's interests. They have this ideology or this plot to form greater Israel, where they just are able to exert power over all the great Middle Eastern nations that produce crude and natural gases. And their plan was 7 countries: Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, Libya, Lebanon, and what was the other one? I think it was Jordan. I'm not too sure. I think it was Jordan. And now it's come to Iran, and they got Khomeini. They got him. Now what happens next? The Revolutionary Guard is probably going to take over. They're not going to be worried about war or Congress or anything like that. Khomeini is like the Pope of the Shia Muslims. So what Israel and Trump probably just did, they might have just set off a jihad, a holy war, with the people like the Houthis, the Badr Brigade, and the Hezbollah Brigade in Iraq, Al Shabaab in Somalia. All these people are going to be fighting and trying to kill Americans now because of this. Now I'll just say, what was I just about to say? What was I just about to say? Damn, that shit just slipped my mind. But I don't think this is good. I think a lot of Americans are going to die, and I just want to remind people, this was said in 2011.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
I agree with Donnie Boy 1,000%. He started a war with Iran because he has no ability to negotiate, and he's weak and ineffective. Oh, what I was gonna say, Surfile Player, is what happens next is the big question, because Barack Obama went in with an air campaign. They killed Gaddafi. They unseated him in his government, and then it was pure chaos. Libya was split up between the warlords, which made life even worse for the people of Libya. Something like that could very well happen right now. That could happen in Iran. This could just blow up into civil war between the Revolutionary Guard and whatever group the U.S. and Israel decides to fund. But I don't see good, happy times coming forward for the Middle East. I don't see that at all. But rest in peace to Khomeini. I have no love in my heart for that individual at all. He was a brutal dictator. But moving on.
well, could I just add to that though?
Go ahead.
Different president though. I mean, Obama, when it came to dealing with Africa, I used to think that Obama loathed Africa. Like, looking back at it now, I mean, like, you know, and again, I was a big Obama fanboy, like first term especially. But Obama, like, looking back at it now, I really think that he hated Africa. But in terms of Gaddafi, like they wanted that to pop off. They wanted instability. They wanted the Arab Spring to happen in Egypt and like the disaster that rolled out with in the aftermath. But I mean, I'm not gonna use it as a one-for-one example in terms of like what happened in Venezuela and the removing of Maduro. And again, like I mean, like a lot of people don't have love for Maduro in America, in spite of like what they feel about Trump. And since that's happened, I mean, like what's really come of that in terms of Venezuela losing their leader, in terms of it affecting Americans negatively? I haven't really seen much. But Iran, I mean, like the Iranian people, like the reports from the people that are in America that I've met that are Iranian, I mean, they had zero love for the Ayatollah of the past and the current. And I don't think, I think that it's in Trump's best interest to stabilize Iran. And for, I mean, like, again, like if going back to my theory, I always thought that Iran is kind of like a placeholder for like to arm Israel at every turn, and for there to be this boogeyman in the Middle East where a lot of Arab countries are kind of like moving away from the whole, American sentiments, more so under Trump than before. Iran was kind of like the last holdout where they were completely radicalized. And again, I rarely saw instances like in the past, like since I've been observing politically, where Iran gave a lot of shit to Israel. I mean, the only example that you could really point to is October 7th, and October 7th could not have went down the way they said it went down. I mean, like, I don't like know if that's allowed to be said on YouTube, but for October 7th to go down in one of the most militarized nations by dudes on fucking propeller like packs and like
and pickup trucks.
Yeah, that was a bunch of bullshit. Like, I mean, like, and then like of course, like they had the natural person to blame. Iran the boogeyman, like set this whole thing off. That's bullshit. There's no way that went down.
I mean, this was set off. This was all precipitated by Barack Obama negotiated the JCPOA to make sure that Iran gave up its nuclear weapons program. Then Donald Trump tears it up, and then we get and then Iran, or no, excuse me, yeah, because Israel did not like the JCPOA deal because it allowed Iran to open up trade to the rest of the world, which allowed them to build up funds. And they were and at least allegedly they were sending those funds to Hamas, the Houthis, and Al Shabaab, and their different proxy groups in Iraq. So I think October 7th, and this is just my opinion, YouTube could feel however they want to feel. I think it was set up by the people of Zion. I think they wanted that to happen. I agree with you 1,000%. There's even news reporting that shows that Israeli generals were warning Benjamin Netanyahu months before October the 7th of a buildup in activity. And then there's word that literally for almost 2 hours, Benjamin Netanyahu did not send the IDF to counterattack. And then we further find out that there's something called the Hannibal Elective was put in action on October the 7th, which is a directive to the Israeli military that says do not allow any Israeli citizens to be taken hostage, which essentially greenlit them to shoot and destroy vehicles with Israeli citizens. So they unalive their own people, to be very clear, and there's evidence of this. So I don't like those people at all whatsoever. I think they dragged us into several different wars in the Middle East the past 20 years. I mean, here's this clip of Benjamin Netanyahu.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon
before you play the clip,
in a very short time.
Could I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't it what a beautiful notion that Marky, the illustrious Marky Den and surfile player of Brooklyn, Vietnam, surfile player of Brooklyn, Vietnam could come to some sort of agreement. Am I in a dream world right now, my brother? Is it because the month of March is about to set off upon us, my friend, that Marky Dan and Sir Foul Play Ski could come to some sort of agreement on a political point? What's happening, Marky Dan? Like, come on, like, is it because it's my first time on your panel, my brother, that we come to some sort of agreement, my brother? Like, what's going on here, bro? Like,
I think money is about to start raining from the sky. At least I
yo,
hope so.
but I gotta dip off though, Marky Dan. But like, if you're still on, like, I want to take a walk with my wife. But if you're still on later, I'll come back through if you let me, bro. Like, but thank you for letting me
Salute to
on.
our foul player. We disagree on a lot. I think we have certain fundamental differences, but I support anybody giving their opinion and allowing yourself to be challenged. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always gonna respect you on that note. But yeah, we finally found some core agreement. We don't like
Word.
war. We don't like
Word,
those people
word.
in Zion yet.
I mean, I don't have. I'm not opposed to all of the people that are of that nature.
Right. I'm not opposed to all of them either. Right.
Yeah, but like
Go
they
ahead.
have like some real bad characters that like probably popped off Epstein and popped off the Diddy blackmailing operations. I mean, because this is another theory that I have. The Diddy operation got busted, and October 7th happened that same weekend. But I think like these are conversations that people would have looked at you as a crazy person 5 years ago, that now little by little a lot more people are willing to have like out in the open and not to be called a bigot, and that's a good thing, man. I think people in mass are waking up. Well, even if it comes by way of being tribalized or by Trump hate, as long as people are waking up, I really don't care. Like, and I think more people are waking up than like staying asleep in 2026. And that's a good thing. But let me dip off, Marky Dan. Thanks for letting me come through again.
Peace to you, Sir Foul Player.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on. Yes, sir. Salute to Sir Foul Player. We're gonna move on. Hopefully my brother AC pulls back up. But AC just don't got time for the nonsense, and I respect it. I disagree with Sir Foul Player strongly on almost everything. So I get why AC didn't have the energy or the time for it. But we're going to move on to Donald Trump, a.k.a. Tariff Boy. Tariff Boy Trump. So I believe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court finally came out with their decision. They have officially struck down Tariff Boy's tariffs. They ruled that it was illegal. Congress has the ultimate power of the purse. And it also firmly affirmed that the tariffs are a tax on the American people. And this is Tariff Boy's reaction.
Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. But you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. And might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case, even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301.
Been bipartisan criticism
No, not bipartisan.
of the tariffs.
Excuse me.
There's several
A few
Republicans
people.
have said that.
Yeah,
But
a
why
few people.
wouldn't you just work with Congress to come up with a plan?
I don't have to.
To push tariffs
I have
through?
the right to do tariffs, and I've always had the right to do tariffs, and it's all been approved by Congress, so there's no reason to do it. All we're doing is we're going through a little bit more complicated process, not complicated very much, but a little more complicated than what we had. We'll be able to take in tariffs, more tariffs, and the Congress people and the Congress.
Down the Canadian tariffs last week.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
been votes
you
in the
know why?
Senate against it.
Yeah, because we lost 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans because they're not good Republicans. What you do is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man, but a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. His father started it. And he said, "Sir, I want to kiss you." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because we were down to working 1 hour a week, and then you came in and imposed tariffs, and all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week." He said, "Sir, I want to kiss you so badly."
Bro, this guy is a fucking cartoon character. I don't know how people take this shit serious. This man said, "We're going to sit there, sir, I want to kiss you. We were only working 1 day a week for 8 hours. Now we're working 7 days a week for 24 hours around the clock, sir. I love you so much. Mwah, 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 mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh, I have the right to do tariffs. I have bipartisan support, or not bipartisan, And then he says, what did he say? The Democrats on the court. Now the court are a bunch of Democrats. Like every time I hear him talk, he talks like a dictator. He talks like a nobody is allowed to disagree with this man. He's never allowed to be wrong, ever, about nothing. And then the stuff that killed me, AC. This new section, I can't remember the name of the exact statute, but this new statute that they're putting these 15% across the board tariffs on every country under, the government's lawyers actually went to the Supreme Court, and you know what they said, AC? They told the Supreme Court, well, us using the IEPA, I think that's what it's called, to put blanket tariffs, it's not illegal, Judge. It would only be illegal if we use Section XYZ, which is what they're using right now. So these tariffs are probably about to get struck down. But even then, even if the court doesn't step in and do what they're supposed to do, Donald Trump can only have these tariffs on for 5 months. Then he has to come to Congress, and Congress has to vote on it. So it's like, and then the reason why that's bad is because he's lost his majority on this issue. The other day, they had a resolution passed in the House where 3 Republicans, Don Bacon, Thomas Massey, and a California Republican, they crossed the aisle and voted with Democrats. And they said no to tariffs on Canada. In the Senate, at least 2 or 3 different times, 51 senators came, at least 3 Republican senators, Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, and I think Lisa Murkowski. They crossed the aisle to vote with Democrats to say no to tariffs. So chances are, him talking all this big crap, I don't need Congress. Yes, you do, bitch. Stop talking that big shit. You're not a dictator. You can't just do whatever you want. You're not a God king. And then it's like, before I let you go, AC, all those countries like Malaysia, Japan, India, Indonesia, South Korea, literally a week before the Supreme Court struck down these tariffs, they negotiated for a 15% baseline tariff. Now the whole world gets a 15% baseline tariff any fucking do. So it's like like if you're in business, you're sitting back looking like, wow, I should have just waited this MF out. So now those countries are saying that the trade agreements they made are invalid. They don't even count. They haven't been ratified by our legislatures yet. So we need to have new talks. It's over for Tariff Boy. It's over. On top of the fact, almost 55% of the country disapproves of his handling of the economy. 60% of the country disapproves of tariffs. We saw earlier this year the farmers in Arkansas, Indiana, Nebraska, Iowa, California, all over this country. They had to get bailout checks in the amount of $12 billion because of his tariffs, because China stopped buying their produce. So it's always been ineffective policy. It's always been illegal. And now he's just like, it's pathetic. I don't have the video, AC, of because he got this announcement of the Supreme Court decision in the middle of the governor's ball or whatever they call that crap, where the governors and the president comes
Yeah,
together.
governor's
And
meeting.
he started losing his mind to the press. And Fox News, his daughter, Laura Trump, was talking and saying, this is the most transparent administration in history. The people love his handling of the economy and how he's handling everything. And then 5 seconds later, they say, oh, the president is at so-and-so. Well, we have him live talking. And then it's just Trump losing his mind. And the staff are saying, thank you, press. It's time to go. Thank you, press. This is an absolute embarrassment. An absolute embarrassment, bro. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, AC?
I'm gonna say it like this. I'm in the restaurant business, right?
Hold on. Look what Vacay Bay said. He don't even know how to manage money. That's just straight facts. Go ahead, AC.
So understand this. I'm in the restaurant industry, which means food and hospitality. So while certain things are ticking up, and maybe people don't understand why they're ticking up, and they constantly tick up, is because many of the products that we buy, like apples and certain fruits and things like that we sell, they travel around the world to build up money. And this money is in the form of like a tariff, right? So it allows the growers to get that little 15 to 20 cents to maybe even 75 cents per unit. And this is where they'll make their money, because it's not really a big business to sell apples. But if the apples travel around, then the apples start to generate money. Money for the guy selling it, which then is passed off to the customer. Then guess what? I now have a greater profit. But the customers don't really feel it, because the cost of the apple only went up by what they perceive cents, not dollars. So you generally don't mind. Oh, it might have been a bad winter, or might have been a bad spring, or whatever. In the sector of restaurant equipment, that's where these tariffs are huge. Because yes, American companies, you have a lot of restaurants in America, but American restaurant equipment companies are trash. There is no new innovation in it, because there are no new designers or engineers looking to go into that space. So with that said, the stoves that you want that are excellent stoves and low energy and do all of this stuff, they're going to come from Europe. So if the stoves are already going to be custom made and start at a price of bare minimum $100,000, when you put these tariffs on, what do you think is going to happen? Same thing with furniture for your home and furniture for the businesses. There's a company that I was going to buy the furniture for my restaurant from, that I had to just say, okay, I can't deal with y'all, because they sent me an email and said, because of the tariffs, even if we do the project, it's going to be at least 6 to 8 months before you get the furniture. That makes zero sense. So if you're looking at the price of your oils that are in the supermarket and you're wondering why, wait a minute, this oil used to be like a couple of dollars, no more than $4 or $5. Why is it like $18 right now? It's the price of olive oil. Because those beans, that soybeans and that corn that's used, 9 times out of 10 didn't come from this country, and Trump is tariffing the country that stuff came from. It translates to that price of oil that you use to fry. Goes from a $4.99 price to an $18.99 price for the same gallon. That's where the tariffs that Trump keep trying to tell you are good. We're building all of this money. But Americans are feeling it when we go to the grocery store, when we buy beef, because some of the beef we buy comes from other countries. Because here in America right now, we've got climate issues. We got diseases that are spreading rampant through many joints. That's why it's critically important to start to buy local. Because if you're buying local, then the tariffs don't mean nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you stay buying with these big companies, then the tariffs are definitely going to start to eat away what you normally spend on your groceries. When you try to buy furniture, when you try to do this and that and this and all of this other stuff, you're going to see these tariffs are slowly hitting every sector. Steel, machinery, buildings, new construction, new home buildings, solar panels. These tariffs are destroying our economy. And that's where I landed.
Absolutely. The guy is an idiot. It was idiotic policy to begin with. It teaches me that Americans, a lot of them are really uneducated. They'll just take something that sounds cool. All you have to do is literally just look up what a tariff is and know that it was a tax on yourself. So for this guy to run on taxing American people while also saying we're going to cut taxes is just hilarious. But people are waking up. They realize how dumb they were to vote for this idiot. And hey, thank God for the Supreme Court stood tall on at least one issue. But AC, before we move on to the Epstein of it all, what's your thoughts on it's just been reported and confirmed by Israeli intelligence officials, Khomeini is dead. The supreme leader of Iran is gone.
Well, now you just completely destabilized the whole region. Now you just made a whole new regime, fodder, whatever they want to call it, of new terrorists. Because at the end of the day, what he was saying to his people is their truth. He's been around for so many years. He's seen everything. He's spoken to the government leaders of many administrations that tried to come and talk to this dude. So the mere fact that he's gone right now, you're going to have your 3 to 7 days of mourning, according to Muslim law. And then shit's about to get turned up. Excuse my language, but things are about to get turned up on that front. So expect, a mass exodus if they're smart, of American troops just saying, we got to get up out of here. This whole Middle Eastern thing, it's about to blow in a way that they just screwed it all up. When you look at Netanyahu, he's an idiot. When you look at Trump, he's an idiot. You got two idiots that made the worst decision possible for that region.
By the way, this report It's coming exclusively from Iran International, where it's saying that, and the sources of this article spoke on condition of anonymity, obviously because they would be dead. But it's saying that the command structure of the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, they are currently finalizing they're currently meeting and finalizing a decision as to who is the next supreme leader, which is completely outside of the legal process of Iran. So it just sounds like pretty much Venezuela part two. There's going to be more suffering. The regime is still in place.
Yep.
I mean, like worst case scenario, this might turn into Libya if Israel and America decides to arm different secular groups. And what's probably going to happen, what would happen in that scenario is those armed groups would just become warlords and split up Iran amongst themselves. So
Yeah.
I don't see anything good coming from this.
Yeah, that's probably more likely the realistic outcome, that this region becomes a Libya. We saw how that ended. We saw how because you wanted to participate in these regime changes, how one guy we installed then turned around and became one of the most horrific dictators and persons of prosecuting and tormenting their own people. And then we saw his ending. So at the end of the day, it's just not going to go well for all parties involved. When you don't understand the past, you're bound to repeat it, and you're bound to repeat it in the future. So now we possibly can be looking at the second go around, which is going to be a lot more brutal, which is going to be a lot more in our faces, because at this time around, it's just not all being filtered through newspapers and Newsweek magazines and stuff like that. It's going to be covered in the social media space. That's 24 hours, 7-day-a-week coverage. And that's where people are really, really going to see a whole new level of brutality that, people are going to call for congressional hearings of all the politicians who were involved in this mess that's created moving forward by this government in Israel. So,
But you remember what the fat orange guy said after he lost his Nobel Peace Prize? He doesn't have to prioritize peace anymore. And it's amazing. While this is happening, Pakistan and Afghanistan are in open war right now. So prayers for this region, man. This is not looking good. This is not looking good. I don't think the Middle East is gonna be back to stability for a very long time. But hey, God bless them. This ain't this. Well, I mean, this is our war. We're involved, but this ain't my war. I didn't support this. I didn't vote for this. But moving on, AC, to the Epstein of it all. So recently, in the past couple of weeks, I don't have the Pam Bondi hearing. I don't have time for it. The broad is crazy. The broad is out of her mind. The broad is smoked. She got smoked out in that hearing. She tried to just like walk around and ignore the question. How dare you ask me that question, Congressman? And when they asked her a question, a very simple, straightforward question, she would go off on tangent. I mean, I just don't have time for it. The broad is fried. She has no credibility, like Christine Nome and DHS and ICE and B and Border Patrol, like I said earlier. But over there in the UK, AC, arrests have been made. Arrests have been made concerning the Epstein files. And the first one to fall is Prince Andrew. Forgive me for the quality of this picture, but that's Prince Andrew right there. He has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. He was a trade minister. They believe that they have evidence which proves that he leaked trade secrets to Jeffrey Epstein. So to be clear, he has not been arrested for sex crimes. He's been arrested for leaking country and trade secrets. Also, Lord Mandelson, who I had him in his tidy whities on the screen the other week. He's been arrested for misconduct in public office. So while people are getting arrested in other countries, by the way, the guy Sultan bin Salam, the CEO for the largest cargo container company in the entire world, he has been forced to step down from his position as CEO, and he is facing charges in the UAE. So all over the world, we're seeing charges drop on abusers. And meanwhile, AC, this is our FBI director. This is our fucking FBI director in Milan, getting drunk, drinking down, chugging beers, and celebrating with the hockey team on his taxpayer paid for private jet, while he said that it was a business trip. This is what he's doing while the rest of the world is arresting the Epstein sex ring.
That's why I always.
I mean, go ahead. By the way, remember that report? Remember that report we heard where his own agents called him an effing clown?
Yeah, so that's why I always say, in this moment with this president and this administration, we have to look to other countries as the standard, the bare minimum standard. That bare minimum standard is things where, some people will want to criticize. But those bare minimum standards would set the tone that regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, this type of behavior, this type of whatever is just not acceptable by a person who's holding office. Whether that be Republicans, Democrats, progressives, it doesn't matter. Independents, it doesn't matter. If you're part of this, we're going to investigate you. We're going to call you in depositions. And if you're a sitting congressperson and we find credible evidence and stuff like that, we will make our judicial referrals. And you will be arrested and we will hold special elections. But that's not what this country is doing. That's just wishful thinking. You know what I'm saying? Around the whole entire political scheme. And I'm not talking just Democrats and Republicans. I'm talking about the independents. I'm talking about the progressives. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the second biggest cover-up concerning the Epstein files for me here in New York is still trying to figure out who was Mamdani's mother? Like, how did you become a professor and then you're wind up with Bill Clinton and Epstein, what appears to be on a boat and
I wish I had the picture.
and on somebody's beach. And they got baby Mamdani right there. Like, how does that happen? What circles are you in? But now one progressive will talk about Mamdani's family connection to Epstein. But they want to tell us how bad it looks for Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. And Bill just dropped a bomb on it. He said, yeah, I testified because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, Melania Trump better get ready to testify.
Yeah. So where I'm at with it all is, look, man, Kash Patel, you are the epitome of idiot. Just the look on your face, look with your eyes wide open, like you constantly just waking up from a cocaine binge. Like you just took 2 bumps before every time you get in front of the camera and your eyes is moving 1,000 miles an hour. Trump talk about Caroline Levitt's lips. It's like, bro, have you seen Kash Patel eyes? Like, seriously, bro. Like, they big, wide open. If I pulled Cash Patel over on the traffic stop and he turned around and looked at me like that, I'm be like, whoa, bro, are you okay? What kind of drugs are you on? I got a drug test you, bro. You coming in right now because no. Your look is just nah. And if that's just your look, I'm going to be like, why do you look like the kid who was just caught? You know, so for me, Cash Patel, this picture is classic. Remember this, people. Is there a picture of Comey in a USA shirt acting like a frat boy, taking a picture, throwing back a beer? Is there a picture of James Comey in that situation? Be mad at James Comey as much as you want. But is there a picture of James Comey in that situation? No, it is not. Because one is a professional, one is a social media representative. And he's doing his best rendition of the TikTok FBI social media, era of running the FBI. This is the darkest moment in the FBI's history. You can go back to what they were saying during the McCarthy era and all of that other kind of stuff, and talking about the FBI and the CIA's involvement in Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, stuff like that. But they were professionals about it. They did it through a type of way that you can write movies about. The Indian guy who plays one of Bart's friends or whatever one of those cartoons is, you have that Indian comedian dude play Cash Patel in a movie. He will be spot on with it.
Ah!
No,
absolutely. The guy is. I mean, he's just a fucking. Excuse me for cussing, but he's just a fucking embarrassment. Like, there's no, like, I don't know how his mother could ever be, like, happy or proud that this is her son. This man is, like, and then, AC, I don't have the video here, but Trump came out and said he was disappointed in Cash Patel. So, specifically because Trump don't get on with all that drinking shit. He said he looked like a fool and to do better. So even Donald Trump is coming out and admonishing this guy. But hey, moving on to more Epstein facts, AC. It has now been officially confirmed Epstein was aligned with Israeli intelligence. It is confirmed. And it says it right here. Ehud Barak, who is the former Israeli prime minister and the former Israeli defense minister, and continues to this day to have strong ties with Mossad. His wife, Nili Priel, was in contact with whoever, we don't know because the name is redacted. She was in contact with Epstein, with one of Epstein's people, and the person says Jeffrey does not mind holes in the walls. What they're talking about is that Ehud Barak and Israeli intelligence was building the was installing the security system in Epstein's New York apartment, which coincidentally was right next to Ehud Barak's New York apartment. This on top of the fact we have an email concerning Rafi, Ehud Barak's head of security, and saying that Rafi was going to meet with Jeffrey Epstein at X, Y, and Z time at Jeffrey Epstein's apartment. This on top of the fact now we've confirmed that there is clear and obvious links between Israeli intelligence and Jeffrey Epstein. We've also now confirmed, and by the way, this is through the reporting of Drop Site News. Unbelievable job they've done digging through these files and piecing together the truth, and through their own sources they've pieced together these stories. Unbelievable job by them. They've confirmed the intelligence link. On top of the fact, they confirmed that India was in what's his name, Prime Minister Modi one of his ministers was one of his staffers was in contact with Epstein, and was essentially saying leadership is going to Washington next week. Because Moody was meeting with Trump, he said leadership was going to Washington next week. Can we talk? And Epstein says, "Are you free tonight?" So now we know he was passing along intelligence to the Indian government. We know this for a fact. But then AC, the thing that like I just latched onto because it was just so mind blowing, and like it feels like we're in a sci-fi movie now. And I'll drop the link to this article I'm talking about. It's concerning Epstein designer babies. Okay, the headline of the title of this article that I just dropped in the chat is Jeffrey Epstein recruited NSA code breakers for Genome Manhattan Project. And essentially what it is, Epstein was trying to unlock the secrets to cloning an entire human being. Okay? And obviously we've had tests on this before. I think we've been able to clone a lamb before, but it wasn't a perfect clone. It died in I think about a year's time. And he was funding a lab in Ukraine, and that's the lab I have up here, the DIY Designer Baby Project, funded with crypto. So on top of the fact that he was funding MIT scientists and Russian scientists and Israeli scientists at his lab in Arizona, he was also funding a lab in Ukraine, which was pumping out designer babies. Now, who are these designer babies for, you might ask? Israel. There is there's an email between Epstein and Larry Summers, who is now the disgraced Harvard professor who just this week he had to resign after the text between him and Epstein being really close friends and talking about women and young girls got exposed. Larry Summers was forced to resign. Larry Summers, Ehud Barak, and Epstein were talking about, quote unquote, the Israel problem because the Arab majority was starting to the Arab minority was starting to outpace the Israeli Jewish majority in terms of birth rate. And they're saying that's a problem. And they went to Russia to meet with Putin to discuss this project as well as sending more Russian Jews to Israel to further help populate them to keep the Arab majority from taking power. This is also in line with the fact that in 2018, the Israeli parliament had to come out with a bill which explicitly frames in law the rights of Jewish peoples over the rights of other people, mainly Arabs living in Israel. So let me just read you one line from this. Hold on, let me find it. Let me read you one line from this because it's just insane to me. But on top of this, on top of the designer babies and the cloning, AC, Epstein went to Russia to discuss with Putin a quote unquote new type of currency that cannot be traced. And a lot of people are thinking Epstein might be the origins of crypto, or at the very least, he was involved with the people who started crypto, which was they started crypto under a secret pseudonym. I think it was Satoshi or something like that. It was some Japanese name that they started crypto under, which is an anonymous pseudonym to keep their identities hidden. Hold on a second. Let me find Larry Summers' quote right quick. I just want to read it because it's really insane. It's crazy that this type of stuff was really happening and right under our noses. Oh, okay, here it is. Calculations about the long-term viability of the Israeli state and anxieties about the demographics of its Jewish population formed a backdrop to Epstein and Ehud Barak, engagement with Putin. In the last years of Epstein's life, Barak shared grave concerns with Epstein about Israel's looming demographic crisis. During a dinner with Epstein at Epstein's New York mansion in February of 2013, Barack told former Obama economic advisor Larry Summers that Israel needs to solve its Jewish population shortage before it's too late and stop the quote slippery slope to a one-state nation with an Arab majority. Barack believed the best hope for Israel's future was allowing for conversion into Judaism to promote migration by breaking the Orthodox rabbinate's authority to define who is a Jew. Quote, open the gates for massive conversion to Judaism. It's a successful country. It's a successful country. Many will apply. Russian migration had been essential to Israel's past success, and Barack hoped to repeat that pattern. It then further goes on to say, Epstein himself took a quiet interest in Russia's growing conflict with Ukraine and NATO. On March 13th, 3 days before a referendum on whether Crimea should join Russia, Epstein wrote to his broker at Deutsche Bank, Let's Play, and instructed her to place $250,000 bet against the Russian ruble by the end of the year. After he placed that bet, Epstein had the meeting with Putin and tried to offer him the new secret currency, which essentially was just crypto. So this article, which I put in the chat for anybody who just wants to look at it, and if you want to look at Dropsite's news, Dropsite News is reporting when it comes to Epstein and Israel. Just look up Dropsite News, Epstein and Israel. That's all you have to do, and they have a whole collection of just amazingly written articles, factual articles at that, and they provide the receipts in the article. So I encourage anybody to go do that. But coming to you, AC, what's your reaction to the fact that Epstein, Israel, I mean, this project could still be in motion right now, but what's your reaction to the fact that they were even having discussions about creating designer babies, and cloning people to help with the the demographic problem they were having with the Arabs over there, even though now they've turned to genocide and murder and ethnic cleansing. AC.
Oh, my bad. I
If you
was
talk,
on mute. I was on mute. Basically, what I'm trying to do is to go back and remember the two names that I can go all the way back to the first time I've ever heard of cloning actually being something that was done. Walt Disney was one of those people. You go way, way back and you understand Walt Disney, you'll understand that he was into cryogenics, cloning, and a whole bunch of other stuff, because he was trying to say, even if I died, if I can clone myself and use cryogenics so my organs are not damaged by the decaying body after death, then you can revive me, because the DNA material and the embedded memories are embedded in DNA. These were early experiments that they knew some of the possibilities of DNA. This is why it was important to break the genome and all of this other stuff. So you have a person like Jeffrey Epstein. He's just taking on the work of what these millionaires and early billionaires were trying to do way back in the 40s and 50s. This is when this type of exploration was seen as groundbreaking, based on, some of the sci-fi TV shows that were out at the time. Could science or could life imitate science in that fashion? And there was a real effort to put forward. So you would need a government to be behind it. You can have all the money in the world, but that may not bring you the resources that the government has, as far as being able to cultivate and work on cultures and things like that can help you break this type of science. So it's not the type of work that any one single billionaire can get done in his or her lifetime. It's the type of thing that's set, and then anybody that wants to get involved in it are going to follow this stuff and make donations. Jeffrey Epstein is just the last of who we found out that a part of this type of stuff. So yeah, it gets pretty scary, and it gets pretty crazy to know that there are these, underground factions that are working on this type of stuff regularly. People are getting grants for this. They're getting grant housing for this type of work. So it doesn't put anything past me that Jeffrey Epstein is part of that. As far as his connections to Israel, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me in the least bit. Because as long as you have a name Epstein and you're at that level and you're not going to be involved in the Israeli government, is crazy. Because I know billionaire Jews that I can literally pick up the phone and turn, if I wasn't doing this on my phone, put the screenshot and be like, look, these are two real billionaire numbers. One guy is kind of pro-Israel, the other guy is like, no, I don't deal with Israel at all. So at the end of the day, for me, it's just even the Israeli people are torn. But the more and more they find out, some are happy. Just like you look in this country, the more and more disgusting things Trump do, it makes a certain sector of his followers and supporters double, triple, buckle down, and everything else on the dude. Like, yeah, I don't, he doing everything that I would want to see in my government. So obviously you don't know how the Constitution works, you don't know how government works, and blah, 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 blah. So Jeffrey Epstein, where he's at, and all of these people that are coming out and being exposed, it was always rumored that Prince Andrew was going to somehow or another skate around his sexual crimes from way back then. I mean, Prince Andrew been in the news for sexual crimes since basically the 80s, maybe even, I mean, not the 90s, early 90s, late 80s is the first time I ever seen Prince Andrew or knew that. I was like, oh shoot, I thought it was just Prince Charles. I didn't know there was a Prince Andrew and all of these other dudes. You know
the one dude who I'm really shocked that we haven't heard nothing about yet? Oscar De La Hoya. I'm gonna tell you, I'm really shocked that Oscar's name is not nowhere in these files. Because Oscar had 2 different cases against him in the 90s filed by underage girls that got settled. And then we obviously know this guy is a straight up freak. So I'm gonna be really, and then we know he's from LA. He hangs in those circles with all those movie execs, like Mom Donnie's mother. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually proud of Oscar. He a freak on his own time.
But the Pops was the movie guy. When I looked into it, he didn't, like, the Pops never made any U.S. movies. He was like one of the dudes that started that whole genre of like the Indian musicals with the big dance numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was one of the pioneers of that type of that. So how does that guy right there and his wife get in the circles of Jeffrey Epstein? What the hell was the connection?
Maybe that's how Epstein got connected with the Indian government. I don't know, but I do not know. It is very weird. This man is highly connected. Here you have an email with him speaking to a Rothschild who is the head of a bank board. I mean, there's really no possibility. I mean, there's nothing really that could shock me anymore. Like if I hear that they were literally eating little children, like they literally took infants that were born yesterday and then they drowned them in water and boiled them alive and sauteed them and seasoned them and then ate them for dinner, it would not shock me. These people are that depraved. Yeah. They are that depraved. Like to go as far as to talk about cloning people. So you could have imagine if that happened in the United States of America, where MAGA was able to just clone effing retards, just clone them, and then give them give them birth certificates because they were born in the United States, and then let them vote. I mean, like that's really scary. And the fact that Trump was in these circles, none of this would shock me. None of this would shock me at all whatsoever.
So
But hey, go ahead.
just to land the plane right here. This is also what I wanted to talk about as well. Was the whole thing of crypto. For me, I was a huge gamer and stuff like that. Was into PC games and things like that. I used to buy PC magazine, gamer magazine. I held subscriptions and stuff like that because it was part of the whole technical space that I was, just following the tech space. And through gaming, you knew what software, what chips, all of these type of new things that was coming out. Through the gaming magazines, that's how I found out about quantum computing, because it was featured in Electronic Magazine, which is basically a magazine that just talks about electronic, everything in the in that space, including games. They would always have great articles on games that were like the top 5 or whatever sellers and most fun to play. They always had that op-ed, but then they was talking about quantum computing. So I was heavy into all of that. It was those magazines that were talking about crypto, and it was described as, we already know what crypto is because as a gamer, we are the most familiar with how crypto will work because we do it in COD points for Call of Duty. We've been doing it for all these type of games where you spend real life money for virtual money that translates into a real sale that you can buy something tangible that you want and you want to use. That's crypto in a nutshell. It's just you taking real money, putting it in the virtual space, and taking that real money and honoring it, the money that's in the virtual space, as still your real money. Both sides have to agree to that term. If both sides agree to that term, you've got crypto. So it might have been easy because we're talking about the tech industry as well and saying, yeah, there might have been these small pockets of tech guys that were trying to figure it out, but the foundation of it was taken from gaming. Real money put into a virtual space that translate into something you want, or you can do a trade, and then now I can take your virtual money, go to an exchange, and now make it real money. So within that space, that was the thing that they were talking about many, many years ago. I'm talking like 2001, 2002, of if this thing ever should come out or be, we have to really be able to regulate it, because in that space, people can do whatever. It's the new black market. And that's what they were talking about way on earlier, that crypto was going to be the new black market if it ever came to life and stuff like that. And look at it today. It's the black market for the millionaires and billionaires.
Pretty much. And we see that reflected with Donald Trump's World Liberty Financial, where on those blockchains, they get to make anonymous payments.
Yeah.
Untraceable.
And that's against the very basic understanding and rules of the blockchain. It's supposed to be pure transparency. That's why the blockchain was supposed to work. And this is why banks and financial institutions hired many of these crypto kids that understood how to write the code and stuff like that for blockchain. They paid these kids millions of dollars to help them create that blockchain. So now it makes the transition part of banking much, much more easier. Now, be it the Dodd-Frank bills and stuff like that Elizabeth Warren helped put together after that financial collapse and stuff like that, the blockchain was supposed to say, yeah, now that that's in place, we're going to now work within those confines, but we can do this thing legally now. We can move these retardedly large sums of money without a bank, but we're not violating anything from the Dodd-Frank and the I forgot the other one, the other Dodd bill. We can put all of this stuff together. So, hey, listen, people were warned that a person like Donald Trump, a person like Jeffrey Epstein can come in and just outmaneuver the things that crypto had, because crypto was trust. I trust you, you trust me. And it doesn't work if we're not trusting each other. So now that they've made it completely criminal, many people are not looking to invest in the crypto space anymore. And these type of dudes may just have killed it.
No, absolutely. And that's my big problem because a lot of people have problems with the debt notes. But obviously because it leaves us vulnerable to people like China, which take in a lot of our notes. So they have a lot of U.S. currency, so they own a lot of our bonds, and a large percentage of our debt. But I would prefer that because at least the central bank. So like if we go through things like depressions or recessions, we have the ability, to print more or to artificially just, you know, bump up the value of our money. With crypto, you leave your we like if we went to a system where we said to hell with the debt note, we're just gonna go with digital currency. Like you leave yourself open to get screwed in the behind by by some rich guy who might come in and or whatever the case may be. I don't even entirely understand it, AC. All I know, all I use crypto for is on PayPal. If you try to transfer money directly from your bank account, it's gonna charge you a little fee. But if you buy like PayPal USD, it takes that money, it converts it to PayPal USD, and which it doesn't fluctuate, it stays the same, and then I sell it back and I get the same amount of money, and I put that in my in my PayPal balance. That's all I use crypto for. I don't really
Now,
have no other use for it.
as a person who made early investments in crypto, made a lot of money in crypto, was
But
never able
AC, well, finish what you're saying, but then I want to play this clip. I almost forgot about this clip. This is such a huge clip. Go ahead.
was never able to benefit off of not one penny that I made in any of my early investments in crypto, because the two guys who are considered the godfathers of crypto, where were they taken to court? Here in downtown Manhattan. What did New York do as a result of that? Said, you are not getting any exchanges until crypto can be proven that it can be put on Wall Street. So with that being said, a person who made a lot of early investments, and understand what I'm saying, my investments into crypto did not exceed $10. Because when I was looking into crypto, because like I said before, I was reading all of these video gaming magazines and just electronic magazines. These coins were 5 cents, 10, 15 cents for a whole coin. I was one of the people who, when the little kid told his moms, listen, I'm not going to college. Little kid from upstate, I'm not going to college. Syracuse, New York. His parents was like, oh, yes, you are. He said, I bet you in 1 year, I can make 2 times the amount of money you and dad make combined. One was a high price, a high level doctor, surgeon, something like that. The other one was a high profile lawyer. Straight Cosby type situation.
Right.
Kid invested in crypto. A year later, he had accumulated like $7 million in crypto because of where his family that was out of state. They went to North Carolina or something like that, exchanged the money for him, let him go through an exchange, and boom, he was good to go. So by the time this kid was like 18 years old, because he graduated at 17, by the time he was 18, he was a $6 million, $6-7 million kid. He actually made the cover of many of the gaming magazines and early crypto stuff. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm looking at it like, okay, in a minute, my coins, Ethereum, and a couple of coins that I brought early on, these coins are going to jump up. And I already own like 20 and 30 of these coins because I was buying them at a nickel, 10 cents a pop, 25 cents. Bro, New York had no exchanges. Not one exchange. And me being in New York, in Manhattan, like in the borough part, I couldn't even deal with somebody out of state. But I could go online and buy crypto as much as I want. And that was the screwed up part about it. The blockchains and everything else where everybody was making tons of money, and the thing is with crypto, the down part is what in the crypto space we'll call whales. A whale can come in and a whale can buy up all the crypto and inflate the price and then virtually kill that crypto coin. And that's the thing that you were alluding to as far as you can lose your money. Because all you need is one whale or a series of whales to come in and buy out that coin. Each coin, only a certain amount can be made because of the laws and the way crypto work. It has a cap on how many coins can be made, and it has a cap on overall how many coins are made between any new crypto, whatever. It's just not a lot of room. So whales can come in and destroy it or build it.
By the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. Howard Lutnick, or Nutley, excuse me. One of his kids, this is a part of the tariff topic, and then I'm going to play the clip I want. And I just want you to be brief in giving your thoughts on this, because it's just absolute corruption. So after Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, Cantor Fitzgerald, which is run by Howard Lutnick's kids, it's his investment bank that he started. Cantor Fitzgerald put a $2 million bet against the tariffs. They bought out, somebody paid $10 million on tariffs for whatever goods they brought in, and they bought the rights to their refunds essentially for $2 million. So if they win on that bet, they risk $2 million to get $10 million.
You shorted it.
Any thoughts on that? Just the corruptness?
It's corrupt in a certain way, but it's legal more so.
No, fuck, it's not.
That's what the stock market is based about. I can short any stock that I want.
No, but I'm just talking about the insider trading part of all this.
Okay. So if you're talking about
that's his son, and that's his investment bank that he started.
But
and he is the president's commerce secretary. He's advising him on this tariff policy. And then his sons place a bet against it.
But all I'm trying to say is like this: in the terms of a company being able to do buybacks of its own stocks, that is in a way inside trading, because if you buy back the stock, then you increase the company's overall value and the liquidity of the company. And what his son is doing is probably skating that real thin ass line that they're trying to skate on, and being able to find legal justification in this without the judicial appearance of an impropriety as far as insider trading. Now, that would have to be something that the FCC would have to go and investigate, but in a Trump administration head of FCC, I seriously doubt that that's going to happen. But
Well,
there
I
is.
don't think I looked it up. The statutes of limitation on an insider trading as well as fraud charges is 5 years. We're gonna have a new administration in another 3 years. So unless we put in another pussy attorney general like Merrick Garland, I am hoping that they look into putting this man and his kids in jail. But that's just my opinion on it. The last thing I just wanted to get your thoughts on, and I want the people in the chat to see. This is hilarious. Leslie Wexner, for those of you who don't know who Leslie Wexner is, he is the Victoria's Secrets, as well as the Bathworks and Bath Bed and Beyond founder. And he's the person that gave Jeffrey Epstein all his wealth. Like, he signed the power of attorney giving Jeffrey Epstein full access to all his accounts and to handle his affairs. And Epstein took over $1 billion from him to buy the Palm Beach house mansion and to buy Little St. James. So all of this precipitated from Leslie Wexner. Leslie Wexner was deposed under oath by the House Oversight Committee and the House Oversight Democrats. And I just want you to watch what his lawyer leans over and whispers to him.
And I said, well, why don't we keep inventories of stuff? And she said, well, yeah, I could do that. So she did that as kind of a puny example, but I wouldn't have had the idea. But then all the things were inventoried. That wasn't work for me or Jeffrey. It was just regularly done. Answer the question. Okay.
So I don't know if y'all heard that, but it sounded like to me the lawyer said, I will effing kill you if you answer another question with more than 5 words. Because Leslie was just doing a whole lot of ranting and raving and drawing off on unimportant topics the whole damn hearing. And he was maybe letting a little bit too much slip during the hearing. And you see the lawyer who, I mean, I've never seen like a real life example of a mob lawyer, of that guy who will whisper over and let you know, like, bruh, we know where your kids play soccer. Answer that question how we tell you to answer that shit. Like all this, like all the stuff we see in the movies, AC, the sci-fi cloning, the secret society, pedo islands, the Mamdani mother being a mistress to Epstein and having a child potentially. I mean, all the richest people in the world coalescing around this man to do whatever they were doing. I've never seen anything like this. Like it's like we're living in a movie. I say it all the time, like we're in a South Park or we're in a Dave Chappelle's episode, but it feels like we're in a movie. What's your thoughts on Mr. Mob Lawyer letting Leslie know, like, bro, we will send you to go meet Epstein if you don't shut the hell up?
It's when you play with people like that, even the lawyers are dangerous, because the lawyers are the ones that really give these people permission to kind of do what they want to do, or say, all right, if you want to do this, give me a little bit of time so I can figure out a legal way that puts you in a gray area. So you know, even if they try to haul you off the court, there is no significant ties to what you're doing. When a lawyer talks to a person in that manner, that says, I will effing kill you, that right there lets people like myself know that, yeah, this I'm not even going to call them a secret society, but this society of people that are involved in this type of stuff, they simply just hide behind money, politicians, and law. So that's why it's important to find out who funds whatever politician that you're talking about. And then when the politician starts doing the weird stuff, then you know who funded him, who funded their campaign or her campaign. Then you'll understand, yeah, this is what's crazy. That's why they say in DC, the most powerful group is the lobby groups. So that's why.
Absolutely. And Vacay Bay in the chat, I've been instructing her to this coming midterms and this coming the primaries that's coming up. Do not vote for the candidate that takes money from AIPAC. We need to get Israel out of our politics. I don't believe that when the Republicans are out of power, that we're done being taken advantage of by Israel. I don't buy it for 1 second. If you take money from AIPAC, you are owned by them. It's just a simple fact.
Donald, why haven't you attacked Iran yet? If you don't attack soon, I will release the Epstein files.
Okay, BB, I'll do whatever you want.
That's what AIPAC do to people. That's what AIPAC does to our politicians every day. They bend them right over and they tell them what they want, and the politicians say, okay. That's our politics. Every single goddamn day, and it's playing out in real time. By the way, Israel is saying that they've killed 200 people in Iran. They've not specified whether those were military, how many of them were military personnel and how many were civilians. But 200 people are dead. The leader of the Shia religion, which is followed by just about almost every jihadist extremist group, is dead. I mean, we're not in a good situation, and it's all because
Donald, why haven't you attacked Iran yet? If you don't attack soon, I will release the Epstein files.
Okay, BB, I'll do whatever you want.
That's our reality. That's what's happened to us. That's what's happening to us right now. Right goddamn now. Like, you got laws, they tried to pass laws in Florida which said that if you boycott it made it illegal to boycott Israeli-owned businesses. And then DHS, FEMA, they had a policy. This was, I don't have it right now, but I had it screenshotted, where they said if you boycott Israel, we're gonna withhold emergency funding. So if your town gets hit by a fucking tornado, and you got dead. My bad, can you hear me? I got a phone call.
Yeah, you're good.
No, I was just saying, so if your town gets hit by a fucking tornado and you decide that you don't want to be associated with the genocide in Gaza, you're effed. Or at least that they withdrew that policy, but the fact that they even had that in their mind is unbelievable. Any final thoughts, AC?
Oh, my bad. I was on mute. But basically, here's where I'm at with it. When you want to stifle somebody's speech because of your political connections to a whole nother country, that says a lot. Because if your job was to just be the police, then at some point you decided to investigate us. And all ties and stuff like that would tell you, when you have a person like Michael Cohen, when you have people like Jeffrey Epstein, who are doing business with people but recording, that tells you how grimy the people are you're dealing with. And that griminess is portrayed by Israel saying that they have secrets. We have secrets on your president, Donald Trump. We have secrets on this. We have secrets on that. That means you've been in bed with somebody that never trusted you or decided to say, hey, listen, we got so much dirt on these people. Let's flip this script. When you make a government say, all right, we made a $10 billion a year deal with you. You said, I don't like that deal no more. I want 14 billion. And then the government says, okay, no problem. We'll renegotiate that. We'll give you the 14 billion. 14 billion for what? So when I take all of that type of stuff into consideration, and then, government officials saying, being told that if you speak against this, then we're going to hold government funding from you. That just tells me it's not the country that has power over this entire country. That country has power over select people that are in positions to run this country. And that's how they basically get what they want. And how do you do it? I don't have to go after you and try to convert all your people, even on the ground. That's going to be impossible. But if I get a couple of good strategic people in your government, I can make anything happen. So they're wizards at that, and they helped Trump get elected the first time. They help him get elected the second time. So nothing surprises me. And that's where I landed.
Absolutely, AC. It was great talking to you. Salute to everybody in the chat that came through. This was a great show. Great show. Prayers for peace in the Middle East. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Donald, why haven't you attacked Iran yet? If you don't attack soon, I will release the Epstein files.
Okay, BB, I'll do whatever you want. Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. The United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard.
I don't condemn, I don't convert. This is a calling, have you heard? Bring all the lovers to the fold. No one is gonna lose their soul. Now all my days I've been searching, find out what this life is worth. Through the books I've looked, oh yeah, through time I've searched, yes. It's love, love is my religion. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. All we need is love. Say it again. All we need is love. Well, I don't want to fight you. Hey, let's go fly a kite now. There's nothing we can't cure, and I keep you in my arms for sure. So don't let nobody stop us.
to soar. You know, with you I share this gift. And this gift that we now know. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. All we need is love. All we need is love. Yeah. Well, I'm done searching now. Found out what this life is worth. Not in a book is it found. Oh, my friends, it's all around. Yeah. I don't condemn, I don't convert. This is a calling, have you heard? Bring all the lovers to the fore. No one is gonna lose their souls when it's love. Love is my religion. Mama said, love is my religion. Children said, love is my religion. And every people say, love is my religion. Well, I said it again. Love is my religion. All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need.